it a lot in this life, for sure. Yeah, for sure. That's why I said left field. If you ever heard me say on the interview, I said left field, UFO, definitely X Files. If that's who you are, you heard me. That's all gravy. As long as you standing firm on who you are. But I do believe that the homie done funneled a lot in his life for sure. Even from what I've seen. You know, I mean, walking to the studio, and I'm just gonna say at the end of the day, bruh, there is no crime of being a freak, but you know, if you gay, it's okay. Let it be known. Like you did. Maybe they wouldn't look at you so crazy because the accusations that they giving you, Diddy, with the dudes that's suing you from all that type of shit. It is only a certain amount of time towards people from different walks of life can keep saying the same thing and it don't be true. You heard me? It got to be some truth to that. You did. So all I'm gonna say is, at the end of the day, you know, do I think Diddy gay? I don't know what that means. Do I think Diddy is a? Yes, yes, I do. And that right there is coming from just my experience. You know, to know what a straight man is, and to know a man that like to play a lot in life, that like to funnel a lot in life. You dig? He lived too long to not want to do that. And I don't even think he will be gay off being sexually attracted to men, you know? I think it'll be him experimenting so long that he'll get tired of the bad bitches. So when I hear the stories of, you heard me, of the situations, it just kind of makes me say, yeah, sound about right. Because it does sound about right. You can't sit up here and not it not plague your mind to say, I think Diddy used to funnel with boys too. Do you think Diddy used to funnel with boys? You asking me? Do you think so?
I mean, from what I'm hearing, it sounds like he had his share of men before. I don't know. I mean, hey,
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
but for you, you said that you believe he's bi. So what did you see that makes you believe that?
All right. One time I'm in the studio. Um, don't judge me either. One time I'm in the studio. One time I'm in the studio, and maybe I was tripping because I never really quite been a weed smoker or nothing, you know. But one time I'm smoking weed, brother, and I walk in the studio and just seen uncomfortability to my eyes. How about that? I seen uncomfortability to my eyes. You know, and my eyes are very comfortable with things that I see. And I seen uncomfortability with my eyes. And I'm not going to, I'm not laying back there and saying that everything I'm saying is just 100.
The latest revelations surrounding Shaw Diddy Combs have sent shockwaves through both the entertainment industry and the public. The claims made in a controversial memoir allegedly penned by Kim Porter-Ditt's late partner have sparked outrage and speculation. The memoir, published under the title Kim's Lost Words: A Journey for Justice from the Other Side, alleges that Diddy engaged in deeply troubling behavior, including relationships with young boys, hosting illicit parties, and physically abusing Porter.
Contract is because Round knew to let me go. You know what I'm saying? And even right now, I just say uncomfortability to my eyes. You can take that how you want it. You heard me? But uncomfortability to my eyes. What I'm not used to seeing two men do when I look at them. A powerful man at that. I walked in the studio and seen two powerful men doing things that was uncomfortable to my eyes. And that's that. So you can take that how you want it. There you have it. My daddy told me to say that. My daddy said, make sure you let it be known that my pa, free my daddy. He said, you make sure you let it be known if you seen something uncomfortable with your eyes, you dig? That man left you down bad. You got shot. I got fucking shot. I went through a lot. I couldn't even feed my family. Yeah, fucking right, that nigga gay. Uncomfortable with my eyes. Fucking right. Yes, he's gay. Okay, but I don't think someone being gay is bad. And that's the thing. I don't think someone being gay is like a curse. If that's their preference, then say, bro, that's their preference. Now, you ask me, did he do anything left field? And that's why I gave the answer. Yes, I seen things when I walked in the studio that was uncomfortable to my eyes with another powerful person in the music business. And that's just that.
What was your reaction and what was his reaction when you caught him?
I walked, I opened the door. I seen what I seen, and I heard him and slammed the door. And I heard him slam the door. And ever since then, Ron was treating me nice. That's how I was. Fuck, I couldn't get the Lil Daddy video. I couldn't get the Lil Daddy video shot for nothing. You heard me? I'm talking about for nothing. But after that happened, I went back home to New Orleans and we was shooting Lil Daddy. As a matter of fact, we shot Lil Daddy, my solo Lil Daddy, and we shot the remix with Wayne and Jody Breeze the same day. How you love that? Uh-huh. Yeah.
So he greenlit the videos after you caught him.
Right after that. Yeah, I just seen I seen it, bro, and it fucked me up. I'm not even gonna much lie to you. I wasn't really I looked at Diddy differently after that. The $30 million was out the window once I seen him look that way. I low key kind of I wasn't feeling that bad boy shit no more. I wasn't feeling that shit no more. And say, bro, the funny part, I'm never really the type of person that get on here and do all that shit there. But I talked to my daddy, and my daddy said, "You went through so much in life, and you swept it under the rug, and everybody just expect you to just eat that. That man left you for dead out here. You don't have to speak your truth. You just gotta be city. Just be yourself. This time, be yourself. Just be yourself. You don't have to say, oh, I'm speaking my truth, or I'm not trying to expose nobody. It's already out there. How I'm trying to expose."
The allegations, though unverified, paint a chilling picture of one of hip-hop's most powerful figures. Let's dive into the shocking claims and explore the unsettling questions they raise about the darker side of fame and influence.
I didn't do anything. And what she meant by that, just my perspective, I think what she meant was I didn't make him look like anything of what I could have made him look like. I think Cassie felt like the things that he done to her, she could have been put him out there, and she chose not to. So whenever she asked for what she deserved, he treated her like he treated the band. And the difference between Cassie and the band, she went for hers. And because Cassie come from a good family, them people gonna fight for that lady. And most of us from the band, we came from adolescent situations. So those trauma things is just kind of like typical, and that's sad. And it's diabolical and it's fucked up. But we look at things that happen to us as we should brush it under the rug. Cassie people ain't feel that way. They felt like we want to be compensated for the things that he put her through. And that's exactly what happened. That's facts.
And you was there when Puffy took Cassie from Ryan Leslie.
I was around. I can't say I was right there. I wasn't there at the moment of time. Oh, I'm taking your bitch, Ryan. You heard me? I wasn't around that time, but I gradually seen Cassie with Ryan to gradually see Ryan not around no more, and Diddy's the guy with Cassie now. Facts. So it don't take rocket scientists to see that he took his bitch. Period. He took your bitch. Period. Because after that, you heard me? Ryan stopped really kind of coming around after that situation. And I don't think Ryan felt no way. I think Ryan charged it to the game. And the rapport that I had with Ryan, he was so cool that I don't really think he killed though. I think he was just probably like, man, if she chose to go with him, then have her. That's how I think he looked at it. Courtesy of his demeanor and his characteristics, Yeah. Wow, bro. It's wild. This whole situation, it don't even feel real. It feel like a dream. And the Me Too people, everybody that's suing them now, like, damn, that's just crazy. The suing situation, I don't think that everyone is keeping the G of why they're suing Diddy. I think they're just milking them. And if Diddy bite, that's just easy money. And that's another thing about the situation. He's in a money pit. You know, for him, and it puts us back against the wall. You know, it makes him have no other choice but to fucking try to resolve this as much as possible. But what Diddy don't understand, it's already out there, baby. It's already out there. You might as well just go to war with them people, like I was going through. And I know I'm not on Diddy level of celebrity. I'm pretty popular though, but I'm not on Diddy level of celebrity. You know, but
Kim Porter, who tragically passed away in 2018, was not just Diddy's partner, but also the mother of 4 of his children. Her untimely death left many unanswered questions, and this memoir purports to fill in the gaps with explosive revelations. According to the book, Porter kept a diary on a flash drive documenting her life with Diddy. Before her death, she allegedly entrusted these recordings to close friends for safekeeping. These diary entries have now been compiled and published, exposing an array of scandals that include allegations of child you abuse, infidelity, and physical violence.
get it out, thug it out, get it together, and go to war with them. If you ain't do it, you know you're gonna reign supreme at the end. You know, because it's their job to chump up buku charges on you. You know, and then see what they can prove, and that's their job. So you're not in jail right now because you are found guilty or anything. You in there of accusations and trumped up charges.
Yeah, he got a lot to overcome, man. And it's crazy seeing Cassie with a trainer now. And I heard that, the trainer she with Diddy, he's the one that hired him.
But that lets you know women though, not all, but that lets you know the vulnerability of women. You know, some women are a little different because how can you go from this multi-billion? No, I'm not gonna say multi-billion. This billionaire to being vulnerable to a trainer. Well, I guess the word is vulnerability, isn't it? At the end of the day, money stops being important when you get around it enough. And that's the thing, you know, you can only control somebody for so long with money towards they start finding a glitch in the matrix. Even when the band, you know, we got so used to being around money and everything with money and everything laid out for us that when some, not gonna say all, but when some got the rug swept from under them, they didn't even know how to handle reality anymore. Because you got to understand, we've been on that show close to 4 to 5 years straight. You dig? So when the rug gets swept from under you, you know that you know, and that's what I think. With like my brother Freddie P, who I love to death, when the rug got swept from under him, the only thing that he can think about is how he got done dirty. Because respectfully, he did. Fuck all that. Respectfully, we did. We all got done dirty. Respectfully, you know, but some people can't let it go and some people, you know, forgive but don't forget. Yeah. But my opinion, when she told me that she was afraid to go because he was talking about blowing up kid.
One of the most shocking claims in the memoir involves Diddy's alleged involvement with underage boys. According to Porter, she discovered videotapes of these encounters hidden in a bedroom vault. The memoir describes her horror upon viewing the footage, particularly when she recognized an 18-year-old pop star who later became globally famous. She reportedly copied some of these tapes as a safeguard, fearing retaliation if she chose to leave him. This revelation raises a disturbing question: how many others might have been complicit or turned a blind eye to such behavior?
Closet a lot in this life, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
Oh.
That's why I said left field. You ever heard me say on the interview, I said left field.
He said he did what in the closet? Fondled?
Yeah.
Fondled?
Let me see.
I know he got that New Orleans accent. I know we be around a lot of people with that accent, but I don't know what he just said right there.
But I think Diddy has fondled in the closet a lot in his life.
We don't
for
know
sure.
what he mean by that.
Yeah, for sure. That's why I said left field. You ever heard me say on the interview, I said left field, UFO, definitely X-Files. If that's who you are, you heard me, that's all gravy, as long as you standing firm on who you are. But I do believe that the homie done funneled a lot in his life, for sure. Even from what I've seen. Yeah, I mean, walking to the studio and I'm just going to say at the end of the day, bro, There is no crime of being a freak, but you know,
But see, just like he just stopped himself just now, it's like it's probably so many people that saw stuff, not just with Diddy, just period in the industry, just saw stuff and just don't be the. I'm saying you don't want to be the one because now it's gonna be, it's your face gonna be with the new whatever. Like this what you call them saying now, it's gonna be all over everywhere. So you might not be scared, you just don't want that type of everywhere you go, people gonna ask you about that. People gonna be getting you doing interviews, saying the same stuff over and over again.
Like some people do want that because you get paid for that type of stuff.
Yeah, some people do, but some people
then you get to profit off of it because you could have a book out and you could do this and you.
But see,
if you know something,
it never be
what they know and make money.
It never be the right people though. It always be the people that already look crazy.
Yeah, people.
Or, you know what I'm saying? It never be the normal people. Be like because they don't want to.
If you gay, it's okay. Let it be known. Like you did. Maybe they wouldn't look at you so crazy because the accusations that they giving you, Diddy, with the dudes that's suing you from all that type of shit. It is only a certain amount of time towards people from different walks of life can keep saying the same thing and it don't be true. You heard me? It got to be some truth to that. You did. So all I'm gonna say is at the end of the day, you know, do I think Diddy gay? I don't know what that means. Do I think Diddy is about? Yes, I do, and that right there is coming from just my experience. You know, to know what a straight man is, and to know a man that like to play a lot in life, that like to funnel a lot in life. You dig?
He said funnel. We don't know what he mean by. Is he saying fund? No, because he'd be saying.
The alleged tapes, according to the book's publisher Chris Todd, were offered for access alongside the manuscript. Todd claims that several individuals in Diddy's inner circle had copies of these tapes and even attempted to sell them to Hollywood producers. This level of alleged complicity suggests a deeply ingrained culture of secrecy and corruption within parts of the entertainment industry.
He said funnel.
Funnel.
I don't know what that means.
Funnel a lot.
We're going to have to look at the comments and see what somebody going to say something. But I do like looking at Chopper. Yeah, he sounds so mature and older now, like from what I remember from making the band.
Well, that was 10 years ago? He should.
It was only 10?
At least 10 years. I said at least 10 years.
He lived too long to not funnel a lot in life. You dig? He lived too long to not want to do that. And I don't even think he will be gay off being attracted to men, you know. I think it'll be him experimenting so long that he'll get tired of the bad bitches. So when I hear the stories of, you heard me, of the situations, it just kind of makes me say, yeah, sound about right. Because it does sound about right. You can't sit up here and not plague your mind to say, I think Diddy used to funnel with boys too. Do you think Diddy used to funnel with boys? You're asking me, do you think so?
I mean, from what I'm hearing, you know, it sounds like he had his share of men before, you know. I don't know. I mean, hey.
That's all I'm saying. But
for you said that you believe he's bi. So what did you see that makes you believe that, you know?
All right, one time I'm in the studio, don't judge me either. One time I'm in the studio, and maybe I was tripping because I never really quite been a weed smoker or nothing, you know. But one time I'm smoking weed, brother, and I walk in the studio and just seen uncomfortability to my eyes. How about that? I seen uncomfortability to my eyes, you know, and my eyes are very comfortable with things that I see. And
what you say?
That's how he gonna word it. That's his way up.
I see uncomfortability to my eyes, you know, and my eyes are very comfortable with things that I see. And I seen uncomfortability with my eyes, and I'm not going, you know, I'm not laying back there and saying that everything I'm saying is just 100. You know, that's why it was so easy for me to get out of my contract, is because Round knew to let me go. You know what I'm saying? And even right now, I just say uncomfortability to my eyes. You can take that how you want it. You heard me? But uncomfortability to my eyes. What I'm not used to seeing two men do when I look at them. A powerful man at that. I walked in the studio and seen two powerful men doing things that was uncomfortable to my eyes. And that's it. So you can take that how you want it. There you have it. My daddy told me to say that. My daddy said, make sure you let it be known that my pa, free my daddy. He said, you make sure you let it be known if you seen something uncomfortable with your eyes, you dig? That man left you down bad. You got shot. I got fucking shot. I went through a lot. I couldn't even feed my family. Yeah, fucking right, that nigga gay. Uncomfortable with my eyes.
Dang, he went
wait
straight.
a minute.
He went straight.
The memoir also sheds light on Diddy's personal life, detailing a series of bizarre and morally questionable incidents. Porter reportedly described Diddy's parties as just a fancy name for orgies with everyone eager to join in. She even claimed that their relationship was open, allowing for intimate encounters with other celebrities, including rappers and a married woman. The memoir recounts an unsettling episode where Porter stumbled upon Diddy leaving a bedroom with a chart-topping rapper and the woman's husband. These claims, while salacious, also hint at a pattern of boundary-pushing behavior that raises concerns about the power dynamics in Diddy's social circles.
Tonight, Jay-Z fighting back against a rape accusation. His attorney filing a letter to the judge to dismiss the rape lawsuit against his client, citing an NBC News exclusive that found inconsistencies with the accuser's story.
You should always advocate for yourself.
It comes after our interview with a 38-year-old mother from Alabama who accuses Sean Diddy Combs and Sean Jay-Z Carter of her when she was 13 years old. She asked us not to reveal her identity.
What made you want to come forward?
Because I think that I've been quiet long enough.
She says that she went to the MTV Video Music Awards in 2000. The woman says she spoke to Combs' limo driver, who offered her a ride to an after party. She says at the party, she spoke to musician Benji Madden and his brother.
I'm talking to Benji Madden about his tattoo. It's the Last Supper.
In a statement to NBC News, a representative for the Maddens confirmed that they did not attend the 2000 VMAs and that they were on tour in the Midwest at that time. At the after party, she says she had a drink that made her feel woozy. Then she says Combs and Carter both raped her. She says she ran to a gas station where she called her father, who picked her up.
We rode home in silence. She didn't ask me what happened.
In an interview with NBC News, her father said he could not verify the claims. I feel like I would remember that, and I don't, he said. When we asked the woman about the contradictions in a phone interview on Friday, she said she stands by her statements. I have made some mistakes, she said, in remembering what happened 24 years ago. Honestly, what is the clearest is what happened to me. In a statement to NBC News, Sean Carter said, this incident didn't happen. True justice is coming. We fight from victory, not for victory. A representative for Combs called the suit a shameless money grab.
Is any part of you scared coming out against such powerful people?
I'm scared of what could happen, but I'm more afraid of letting it eat me alive from the inside out.
Chloe Malas, NBC News.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.
Physical abuse is another recurring theme in the memoir. Porter describes harrowing incidents where Diddy allegedly assaulted her. One such incident involved him hitting her after she refused to fulfill a specific C***UL request. In another instance, she claimed Diddy slammed her to the ground, pointed a gun at her, and declared, you don't have a choice in that. Now these allegations, coupled with previous reports of Diddy's violent tendencies, paint a deeply troubling picture. A leaked clip of Diddy physically assaulting another ex-partner, Cassie Ventura, adds further weight to these claims.
A new hour here on Live Now from Fox, and we do have some breaking news that we want to bring to you. It was being reported by TMZ and now Fox News. We are learning that Jay-Z is accused of being a 13-year-old girl. That is new in the Diddy lawsuit, and the new allegations are just coming out this evening. Jay-Z is being accused of a minor along with Diddy at a MTV VMAs after party back in 2000, according to documents obtained by Fox News Digital tonight. The lawsuit, which was initially filed back in October, was refiled tonight in New York by an anonymous accuser claiming Jay-Z, whose full name is Sean Carter, while Combs and Celebrity B watched. So that other celebrity was not named. Initially, the lawsuit stated Combs the minor while Celebrity A and Celebrity B watched. Carter was named as Celebrity A in the refiled lawsuit. Representatives for Jay-Z did not immediately respond to Fox News Digital request for comment. Combs and Carter allegedly, quote, took turns assaulting minor, according to the lawsuit. Many others were present at the after party but did nothing to stop the assault, it alleges. The 13-year-old girl was dropped off at Radio City Music Hall by a friend as she wanted to attend the MTV Video Music Awards back in 2000, according to the lawsuit. In an attempt to gain entry to the venue, she began approaching limousine drivers waiting outside the celebrity-filled event. One of the limousine drivers she spoke to claimed to work for Diddy, the lawsuit read. He told her that Combs liked younger girls and said that, quote, she fit what Diddy was looking for, not allowing her into the awards, but inviting her to an after party. The 13-year-old, quote, recognized many celebrities upon arrival at the party and was required to sign a non-disclosure agreement. However, she was not given a copy. Combs, who would have been 30 years old at the time, then allegedly attempted to force the girl to perform oral sex on him. He stopped after she hit him in the neck, according to the lawsuit here. So now Jay-Z being accused in this now 24 years ago of a 13-year-old alongside Diddy at an after party here. So these are the newest allegations rocking the music world this evening, and we wanted to bring that to your attention all right here on Live Now from Fox. Of course, we will continue to follow this major story as the Diddy saga continues, and now more celebrities getting caught up in it here. These new allegations rocking Hollywood and the music industry as we speak right now.
Allegations against Diddy don't stop at his personal relationships. The Me also revisits past controversies such as a 1999 nightclub shooting incident. According to the book, Diddy manipulated rapper Shine into taking the blame for the incident, allowing Diddy and his then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez to walk free. This pattern of avoiding accountability raises questions about the systemic issues that enable powerful individuals to escape justice.
Major new allegations today of and exploitation by Combs. For the first time, we are hearing about victims who say they were minors when they were allegedly assaulted by the music star. The youngest allegedly just 9 years old. The allegations were revealed today by attorneys representing more than 100 alleged victims who are preparing to sue. So let's bring in NBC News entertainment correspondent Chloe Malas right now. So Chloe, we know there is currently a press conference underway. We do have a live picture of that. Can you just walk us through these new allegations and tell us if we've heard from Combs yet?
So the individual that you see on the screen right now, that is an attorney based out of Houston, Texas, and his name is Tony Busby. He's been a part of some very well-known litigation over the years involving a BP oil spill, even involving the Astroworld Music Festival crisis where some individuals were killed during a stampede. So he has made headlines before, but this is pretty shocking. So he is claiming right now at this press conference that he has had over 3,000 individuals reach out to his law firm in Houston, Texas, that he and his team have been vetting these claims, that now they are representing over 120 accusers, and that over the next 30 days, they will begin to file different civil suits, that this is not a class action lawsuit, that they are going to continue to vet these allegations, but right now they feel strong about these. So he also said today that it's not just Combs that will be named as a defendant, that there will be other high-profile individuals, some household names. He says, quote, many powerful people, there are many dirty secrets. He says that his team has collected pictures, video, and that the allegations include violent sexual, facilitated sex with a controlled substance, dissemination of video recordings, and sex abuse of minors. So this was something else that they talked about, that there are 25 accusers who were allegedly minors at the time that these allegations took place, starting in 1991, span all the way up over 2 decades. He also talks about where these individuals are from. He said that they hail from more than 25 states, New York, California, Florida. We know that Diddy had a residence in Miami, Georgia. We've reached out to Sean Combs' legal team for comment. They have not yet responded. Combs is currently being held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn while he is awaiting trial on the New York indictment, where he is charged with racketeering and prostitution charges. Now, I also just want to point out that they also claim that 62% of these individuals are identifying as an African American, and that they are evenly split between female accusers and male accusers, and Clay. So this is very interesting. And he said that look, I know that everybody expected me today or wanted me to name other high profile individuals. He says, I'm not going to do that.
It's important to note that the authenticity of these claims remains unverified. In fact, Kim Porter's close friend Ione Electra previously denied the existence of such a book, calling the rumors baseless. However, the timing of the memoir's release coinciding with Diddy's recent arrest on C** trafficking charges has only fueled public curiosity and concern.
Rapper Jay-Z is denying an allegation that he and Sean Diddy Combs raped a 13-year-old girl.
Yeah, an anonymous accuser identified only as Jane Doe made the accusation in a civil lawsuit on Sunday. It alleges that the assault happened after she was driven to an MTV Video Music Awards after party back in 2000. In a statement to NBC News, Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter, called the accusation idiotic, adding, quote, these allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever should commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? Attorneys representing Combs also dismissed the lawsuit, calling it a shameless publicity stunt. Combs is currently behind bars at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center after federal prosecutors charged him in September.
NBC News legal analyst Danny Ceballos is here to break down some of this for us. Danny, good to have you with us. These are serious allegations. Tell us a little more about what accusations the accuser's making here that happened back in 2000, and just typically how a case like this then would play out in a civil court proceeding.
According to the amended complaint, and when I file amended complaints, it's because new information has come up. Maybe there are new defendants and new claims, and that's sort of what's happening here, but I'll explain the difference. This amended complaint alleges that this 13-year-old plaintiff, when she was 13, wanted to go to the VMA Awards, couldn't get in. A limo driver says, come on in, and I'm paraphrasing, you look like you're Diddy's type or something like that. She gets in, she goes to the party, and at the party, she is assaulted. Originally, she had alleged, obviously, Diddy or Combs. Now, there isn't really a new defendant in Jay-Z. What the complaint alleges is that somebody that they had originally referred to as, say, Celebrity A, now they're naming as Jay-Z. And so they allege that Jay-Z and Combs were involved in the assault of this 13-year-old plaintiff. So Jay-Z was technically already in the complaint. He just wasn't identified.
Walk us through that point that was in Jay-Z's statement there about changing the type of lawsuit here, civil versus criminal.
So Jay-Z essentially is saying, hey, if you're going to bring this case, this sounds like a criminal complaint. I dare you basically to go file a criminal complaint. And what's interesting, too, is that according to the complaint, the plaintiffs explained the reason that they decided to name Jay-Z was allegedly Jay-Z had pushed back on the filing of this complaint. So it's almost like a kind of, hey, if you're going to push us, we're going to name you in this complaint instead of just saying that you're Celebrity A. That's a little bit problematic because if he wasn't a party originally, if he was just Celebrity A, and now the only difference is because Jay-Z pushed back, it raises a question as to what exactly Jay-Z did as a party, but that will all be worked out in discovery.
And talk about what does happen next then with all this.
Well, when you file a civil complaint in federal court, the next steps are very clearly laid out in procedure, but they're not that exciting. The court will get together, the parties get together, they figure out a discovery plan, and then months out, The parties start exchanging discovery, paperwork, documents, and then months beyond that, they start having depositions. But in the civil complaint context, the opening salvo is the filing of the pleading. And then after that, it's mostly quiet until we get to depositions, which are usually not in the public. And then years from now, in federal court, maybe a year and a half, then you get to trial.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.
Diddy's legal troubles have cast a long shadow over his career, once celebrated as a mogul in the hip-hop industry. His recent arrest has shattered his public image. The charges against him and the revelations in Porter's memoir have prompted many to re-evaluate his legacy, while fans and critics alike await the outcome of his legal battles. The allegations have sparked broader conversations about the misuse of power and the culture of silence. In the entertainment world,
enforcement sources are telling ABC News that right now authorities are carrying out searches at properties associated with P. Diddy. This is all part of a federal investigation into human trafficking. They also say that this investigation has been ongoing now for several months. They add, our sources, that an arrest does not appear to be imminent at this time. But what you are looking at right now is live video of one of these searches being conducted. Now, this is a search that is happening at Sean Diddy Combs' Los Angeles home. This is in the Beverly Hills area. So you can see a tremendous amount of law enforcement present there all around that home. So this search just began here. There's also, as we understand, another search being conducted on the other side of the country in Miami, because we are hearing from Homeland Security that there are investigations going on using the assistance of HSI Los Angeles and HSI Miami, along with local law enforcement partners. We do understand that they will provide us with updates as possible. But this goes into multiple allegations against Sean Diddy Combs over the years. There's been several civil suits against him as well, including human trafficking, all of which he has denied, as this has been ongoing. But again, clearly an escalation that we are seeing play out live right now in Los Angeles. I want to bring in our ABC News contributor and trial attorney, Brian Buckmeyer, who I know, Brian, you have been following this case for many months, and you bring it up to me all the time. And now I wouldn't call this the culmination. In fact, probably this is just the beginning, right? So what do you make of the fact that they've decided to carry out these two searches simultaneously and on other sides of the country here?
So, Kayla, you're right. I've been talking to us about this for too long. But what does it get you? What does a person need to have the ability to search a home? Probable cause. So what I'm doing is I'm looking backwards. How could a judge grant the ability to search these two homes, and why would you do it simultaneously? Probable cause being the belief, or at least having the quantity of information that a crime either did happen, is happening, or is going to happen. That's how law enforcement must have to prove to a judge or a court why they have the opportunity or the legal ability to search someone's home. Now, why would you do it in conjunction from one property and another at the same time? Law enforcement typically does this because they are worried that information or property or evidence may be hidden away or destroyed while you're searching one property. And so they're looking for something to corroborate the belief that they have that a crime did occur. And as you pointed out earlier, he's facing multiple allegations. So perhaps that is the crime in which they're investigating. Perhaps that is what they're trying to seek more information from. But in order to search a home, you have to have probable cause. The only question is, probable cause of what?
Probable cause. And so, Brian, as you look at this and you watch this, and we'll shout if we see any more movement on these screens, but it is important to note, right, that this is all being run out of the Southern District of New York here. So there is a tremendous amount of coordination happening within law enforcement at the highest levels.
Absolutely. And the reason why I believe it's being coordinated out of the SDNY, or the Southern District of New York, which encompasses, for the most part, Manhattan, is a lot of the civil allegations stem from there, whether it be Cassie or the other 4 allegations or civil lawsuits that stemmed from it afterwards. And so what it appears to be, at least if you're thinking this is connected to the civil lawsuits, are that the SDNY is coordinating with the other agencies in Miami as well as Los Angeles to search the properties of Sean Combs to see if there's any evidence of that. Now, I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
4 years, Diddy has been a symbol of success and resilience, rising from humble beginnings to become a billionaire entrepreneur. But the allegations in Porter's memoir challenge this narrative, suggesting a darker reality behind the glamorous facade. They highlight the ways in which wealth and influence can be weaponized to exploit others and avoid accountability.
The evidence of sex predominantly something that might stick out as to something to corroborate what we've heard in these civil allegations. But if they find it, it could lead to further investigations. At this point, we're hearing that there's no potential arrest, but it doesn't mean there wouldn't be one in the future based on either more information collected or if they're finding whatever it is that they're hoping to find in these two locations.
And Brian, we do want to mention that we were initially told what we were showing our viewers here is a home in Los Angeles, California, near Beverly Hills. That is not the case. What you're seeing on your video, on your screen, is in fact Miami. And then they are also searching a home simultaneously in Los Angeles in the Beverly Hills area at the exact same time. And to Brian's point here, law enforcement does that often in an effort to make sure that these searches can be conducted without sort of tipping off anyone else that might be involved. It doesn't give anyone any time to do anything questionable with evidence. So you're getting a larger shot there. You can see now just how close that home is to the water as our affiliate helicopter is flying over this home again in Miami as it is being searched. I want to now bring in our ABC News contributor and former FBI agent Brad Garrett. Brian Buckmeyer, don't go anywhere because I have several more questions for you as well. But Brad, as you're watching this, first of all, can you explain to us, Brad, what that vehicle is that we're seeing right there, that big white truck?
Well, I can't see. I don't have a screen up to see it. But if it looks like a cargo truck or looks like any sort of truck that you could put evidence into, so since we don't know kind of what they're looking for, I can give you a list what I think they're looking for. Is that you have to have a crime scene search vehicle to go in with the various things you need to do to search. So my guess is it's that, because my sense was they weren't going there to arrest anybody. This was to do a search. And so they took everyone probably from the evidence response teams of maybe the FBI and DHS to do this search.
Yeah, so a large vehicle to collect evidence. It does also look like it has some kind of satellite up in the air as well. We're also seeing local news in the area, and you're seeing law enforcement, Brad, sort of walking down a very long driveway to enter the home, and you're not seeing, it's not a chaotic scene at all. Definitely not. And you're right. Our sources are saying that an arrest at this point is not imminent.
Right. So, quickly, why were they able to go in there? To Brian's point, how did they convince a judge to go in there? You have to have a link directly to these two houses. In other words, do they have video of some of these acts that are being alleged in either location or both locations? Are there witnesses? People that have come forward? Of course, people have come forward. Can they put acts in these houses? Maybe they were there firsthand. Is there CCTV that could be seized? Does he actually have video that he collected while these acts were going on? It's not uncommon in these types of cases. So it's all about what happened in those houses that law enforcement convinced a judge that there may be elements of the crime inside these houses.
All right. Thank you so much for that analysis. I also hope we can get some video up of the raid that's happening in Los Angeles as well so that we can learn a little bit more. But in the meantime, you're seeing, again, more video of P. Diddy there. But again, we are talking right now about a simultaneous search of two of his properties, one happening in Miami, the other one happening in Los Angeles. And we just have some new reporting. We're told here by our ABC's Aaron Katursky that the women who have made public accusations against Diddy are welcoming Monday's law enforcement activity, we're told. In fact, there is a statement from one of their lawyers where they're saying we will always support law enforcement when it seeks to prosecute those who have
The public's reaction to these revelations has been mixed. Some have expressed shock and disbelief, while others see the allegations as a long overdue reckoning. The memoir has also reignited debates about the responsibility of the entertainment industry in addressing misconduct among its most powerful figures. How many others knew about these alleged behaviors, and why
having girl problems? I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems, but it ain't one. I got the
99 Problems rapper is adding one more problem to his list. In an amended civil complaint, Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter, is now being accused of drugging and raping a 13-year-old girl at an after-party following the 2000 Video Music Awards in New York City. The lawsuit was originally filed in October against Sean Diddy Combs, now refiled to openly name Jay-Z as his alleged co-conspirator. Combs is currently behind bars pending trial on federal charges, including.
For Jay-Z, this presents a very difficult situation because unlike Sean Combs, Jay-Z doesn't have the opportunity to say that he's being charged criminally and that this civil case should be paused. Instead, this case could go forward and he would have to sit for depositions, argue, defend, show where his whereabouts were, and the light of day could be very damaging to him both in the court of law and the court of public opinion.
Jay-Z has been famously married to Beyonce for 16 years. They have 3 children together. Today, Jay-Z denying all allegations, saying in part, "My only heartbreak is for my family," adding, "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? These alleged victims would deserve real justice if that were the case." His attorneys quickly taking his rebuttal to court, filing a motion to deny the accuser's request to remain anonymous or dismiss the lawsuit, calling it a cynical and calculated campaign to force payment of an exorbitant sum of money.
There are a number of reasons as to why a defendant would ask that a plaintiff be named in a civil lawsuit such as this. They may simply say that getting the name and the time and place of when something occurred would better allow them to prepare for a defense. The other, probably less benign reason is oftentimes when someone is accused of a crime like this, the accuser doesn't want to be named, and if they are forced to be named, we have seen certain people decide to drop the lawsuit altogether. So it could be a tactic to try to get the lawsuit dropped.
The wall of silence has now been broken, and victims are coming forward.
This recent revelation stems from one of at least 7 civil lawsuits against Sean Combs filed in October by attorney Tony Busby, all of which allege Combs used dozens of victims for over 2 decades.
What shocked me most was that it was going on openly in front of other people that you would know who didn't do anything to stop it.
Busby, a prominent Houston lawyer, is no stranger to going against powerful entities. He represented 12,000 plaintiffs in a lawsuit against the oil company BP following the tragic Deepwater Horizon oil spill in 2010. BP agreed to pay $7.8 billion to compensate local residents who were impacted by the damage. In a statement, Sean Combs' legal team called the lawsuits against their client shameless publicity stunts, and that Mr. Combs never or trafficked anyone, man or woman, adult or minor.
For Combs, he's under a lot of fire, both from a civil and a criminal standpoint. He's got a criminal case in the Southern District of New York where he can be.
The issue of child SE*U abuse in particular is a deeply sensitive one. If the allegations against Diddy are proven true, they would not only devastate his career, but also underscore the urgent need for systemic change. The entertainment industry, like many other sectors, has faced repeated scandals involving abuse and exploitation. These revelations serve as a stark reminder of the importance of accountability and the need to protect vulnerable individuals.
Prison for decades, if not a lifetime. And as each week seems to pass by, Tony Busby and other individuals seem to just be adding on civil lawsuit after civil lawsuit.
According to the complaint, the 13-year-old Jane Doe was dropped off near the Radio City Music Hall in 2000, hoping to get into that year's Video Music Awards, but instead found her way into an after-party.
According to the allegations, when she first got to the party, she was asked to sign something she believes to be an NDA, but she didn't really read the details. After that, she entered the party.
After accepting a drink, she claims she began to feel woozy and lightheaded and entered what appeared to be an empty bedroom so she could lie down. Moments later, the lawsuit alleges, Combs, Carter, and an unnamed female celebrity entered, all of whom Jane Doe says she recognized. In the lawsuit, Jane Doe then alleges Combs and Carter took turns raping her as she lay on the bed disoriented, all while celebrity B watched. She claims she was only able to escape after hitting Diddy and running out of the bedroom.
Within the amended lawsuit of Sean Combs and now Sean Carter, the plaintiff is saying that she suffered immeasurable physical and psychological damage, that she's had problems with interacting with people down the line, keeping jobs, and being healthy, both physically and mentally.
At the time, the then 30-year-old Carter was nearing the height of his career. With a Best Rap Album Grammy Award under his belt for his record Volume 2, Hard Knock Life, and high-profile collaborations, including with Combs in the 1999 song Do You Like It, before Grammy Awards. 2021, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Trying to make me cry in front of all these white people.
Last year, he was named the greatest rapper of all time by Billboard, but his empire transcends the music world. He also founded Rock Nation, an entertainment company. Took a stab at fashion with Rockaware and ventured into hospitality with the 40/40 Club. Jay-Z, once rising to megastardom with Sean Diddy Combs, now facing disturbing allegations also together.
When Tony Busby came out with the hundreds of potential civil lawsuits, he told us that there would be some names that could shock us. Now we know who Celebrity A is, Jay-Z, aka Sean Carter. But the question still remains, who was that female Celebrity B named in that lawsuit, and what other major names could be named in the lawsuits that come forward?
As the legal proceedings unfold, one thing is clear: the allegations against Shaw Diddy Combs have forever altered the public's perception of him. Whether or not the claims in Kim Porter's memoir are substantiated, they have sparked a crucial conversation about power abuse and accountability for fans and critics alike. The revelations serve as a sobering reminder that even the most
raping a 13-year-old girl in 2000, allegedly along with Sean Diddy Combs. Our US correspondent Martha Kellner has the latest from Los Angeles.
This civil suit was originally filed back in October against Sean Combs, better known as P. Diddy. It has now been amended to also include allegations against Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter. In this civil suit, a woman says that when she was a 13-year-old girl back in the year 2000, that she attended an after party for the MTV Video Music Awards, during which she says she was by Jay-Z and P. Diddy. She says that Jay-Z removed her clothes, pinned her down and raped her, while P. Diddy and an unnamed female celebrity watched on. She says she was then by P. Diddy as Jay-Z and this female celebrity watched on once again. Jay-Z has dismissed in a lengthy statement these claims as idiotic. He's also attacked the character and legitimacy of the lawyer who has brought these claims. In his statement, Jay-Z directly addresses that lawyer. He says, "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? My only heartbreak is for my family. My wife and I will have to sit our children down, one of whom is at the age where her friends will surely see the press and ask questions about the nature of these claims and explain the cruelty and greed of people. My heart and support goes out to true victims in the world who have to watch how their life story is dressed in costume for profitability by this ambulance chaser in a cheap suit." The wife, which he refers to, is, of course, Beyoncé, whom he's been married to since 2008 and been in a relationship for much longer than that. As for P. Diddy, he's currently in prison in New York awaiting criminal charges. He faces more than 24 civil lawsuits. This is the first one that has named Jay-Z, and he denies those allegations.
The truth will come out. Until then, the world watches as Shaw Diddy Combs faces the most challenging chapter of his life, and the entertainment industry grapples with yet another scandal that forces it to confront its own.
And drugged with jelly beans and flown on a private jet to New York. And that picture with the girl on Diddy's lap with the D&G sweater, that's her. She's 11 years old in that picture. They put those clothes on her. They did her.
In September 2024, renowned rapper and music mogul Sean Diddy Combs was arrested on serious charges, including sex trafficking and racketeering. Following his arrest, he was detained at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC, a facility infamous for its harsh conditions and overcrowding. Despite multiple attempts, Combs was denied bail, compelling him to remain incarcerated as he awaited trial.
But for people who have no concept of what going to jail is like, what is it like when you first go in there?
The first couple of days are heartbreaking because you're taken completely away from family. There's no interaction with anyone except prisoners or the guards. So you have no idea what to expect as far as going through things with the prisoner or the guards, because it can go either way when you first walk through those prison gates. So it's really, even for the toughest person in the world, it's scary because you just don't know what to expect.
And do you have all of your belongings taken away?
Everything. And I went in with extension braids in my hair. They made me sit in the cell and take every braid out of my hair before I was let into population.
I mean, for somebody like who's a billionaire beforehand, somebody like Diddy, it must be completely shocking.
It's actually, I don't think that that MDC is for any human being at all. I mean, I'm not saying that no one belongs, you commit a crime, you have to wait to, your trial and everything else. But I don't think that jail is fit for anyone unless they clean up the conditions.
Lots of prisoners complain about lots of different jails and they say that the conditions are not up to scratch. What, in your opinion, makes the MDC stand out? What makes it worse?
What makes it worse is the food. Mostly everything is stale food, is old food that's donated by other people that they wrap up or they cook for you. Mostly everything they have is full of not roaches and the giant cockroaches. You can smell the mold, you can smell the rot, you can smell the jail that it needs to be rebuilt. It needs help. I don't think anyone should be in that particular jail.
There are lots of different people inside that jail. We know that there's a wing that houses high-profile prisoners, R. Kelly, Ghislaine Maxwell, now P. Diddy's in there. Are you aware of the high-profile prisoners? Do you have any interaction with them?
I don't have any, and we never had interaction with high-profile prisoners at all.
And one of the main reasons that a lot of people know about the Metropolitan Detention Centre was because it made headlines in 2019. And one of the issues they had was keeping their prison population warm. And it gets extremely cold in Brooklyn.
Well, in 2019, something went wrong. They had a power outage. They didn't have any water. They didn't have any lights. They didn't have any heat. And the mayor the city council tried to bring over blankets, and the warden wouldn't accept it. They were banging. My brother called me from a cell phone that was not supposed to be there. And he cried. He said, listen, I think I'm going to die in here. So I panicked.
The MDC in Brooklyn has a notorious reputation for its substandard living conditions, including inadequate medical care, unsanitary facilities, and frequent violence among inmates. These harsh realities posed significant challenges for Combs, who was accustomed to a life of luxury and comfort. The abrupt transition to such an environment took a toll on his physical and mental well-being.
Having problems with a prisoner, do I have to, call a lawyer or what can I do? He said, no, I'm going to freeze to death. I said, freeze? He said, yeah, we don't have no water. So I called the news station and made a whole big show. And I went down there and I, had to do something about it, not just for my brother, but for anybody. He was telling me that he thought his roommate was going to die because his feet was turning purple. They didn't give my brother his medication. No gas, no lights, no water, no heat for almost 2 weeks.
Just take me back to the moment, because I've seen the videos of you outside protesting. It is extremely impactful. You can hear prisoners shouting down from their cells saying, we are freezing.
I screamed to the inmates. I said, everybody, please be quiet. And they stopped banging. I said, if you are freezing cold, bang on the windows. It was so loud you could hear it from blocks away. It was so loud, and it was, it was heartbreaking, for me to know that, my brother and other people were going through this.
Yeah, and look, I've spoken to your brother, Jason, about this incident. He shared with me some diary entries that he kept from that time. At one point, he wrote, I have socks on my toilet seat so that when I sit down, it will be warm. I mean, these are the sort of lengths that prisoners were going through.
It was horrible because, my brother's a man's man. So to hear him on the phone trembling like, I don't think I'm going to make it here, let me tell you what's going on, that was scary for me. I couldn't imagine, and at that time, it's funny because at that time, the news was, people were going up, picking up stray dogs, taking them off the streets and taking the bums off the trains and off the streets so they wouldn't freeze to death. But yet and still, you would allow these prisoners in that jail to freeze.
And look, we did ask the Federal Bureau of Prisons for a statement on what happened in 2019. They didn't directly address it, but they said they have an administrative remedy program for incarcerated individuals to seek formal review and redress of almost any concern they have regarding their incarceration. The Bureau of Prisons say the MDC should be safe, humane, and provide work and other self-improvement opportunities to assist offenders in becoming law-abiding citizens. Does the MDC, in your opinion, live up to what they say their prison should do?
You know, like I said, because you're in prison and you're serving time or you're waiting, you know, to go to court or to go to trial or whatever it is, does not mean that you're not a human being. You know, just like what's going on with Diddy, he still deserves to be treated as a human being. You know, he still deserves a fair trial, innocent before proven guilty. Whatever happened to that?
So how do you keep yourself entertained throughout the day? What do you do?
Well, I read books. I read books and I daydreamed a lot. Like literally just to keep my head on straight. I prayed a lot.
So we were just hearing from Katana Yehuda about what it's like to stay inside the Metropolitan Detention Center. Andrew Dalek is a New York-based federal public defender, and he's represented lots of clients who've served time there. Andrew, is it really as bad as people say?
Well, first, Anushka, I want to thank you and the BBC for taking an interest in the conditions at MDC Brooklyn, because it is an important issue of significant public interest. Anybody who has a loved one detained in that facility, that they deeply care about their well-being and their safety there, and they have good reason to. It is as bad of a place.
Shortly after his incarceration, reports emerged that Combs was experiencing significant health issues. He exhibited noticeable weight loss and appeared increasingly withdrawn, often refusing to leave his cell. These symptoms raised concerns among fellow inmates and prison staff about his overall health and well-being.
Shook, and I just stood on top of him, grabbed him, and next thing you know, NYPD was there.
Okay, so that situation happened. And then a bit after that, in Atlanta, Suge's best friend, Big Jake, gets killed in a club. And this part is kind of fuzzy, but there was a rumor that Wolf was the one that did it. Puffy got blamed for it and so forth. But I guess Wolf wasn't the one who did it, but still there was some sort of blame that Suge had on Bad Boy over that situation, right?
I don't know if Suge had blamed Bad Boy for that, because the situation never came, when I got with him, the situation never came to us like that. Now, I've heard Wolf talk about it, and Wolf told me personally that he didn't do it. And I know everybody knew the guy who did it. It was this dude, he's dead now. He got killed in Atlanta about 2 or 3 years ago. His father was from the Bronx and he owned the cleaners. Now, did Wolf and them know him? Yeah, they probably knew him. He was from the Bronx, his part of town. His father owned the cleaners. They knew this guy. You understand? Him and Jake was arguing over this chick or whatever. Now, did Wolf do it? How could Wolf do it when he was next to Suge? He was right next to Suge when Jake got killed. But everybody want to say Wolf did it because that glamorized the situation.
Right. Okay. And then after that, Wolf actually reached out to you and asked you to come back to Bad Boy and help out with security.
Well, I told Wolf he had to straighten out his thing with Slick. We met on 125th Street, me, Slick, Rico, and Wolf. Him and Slick talked and everything, and it was cool and everything. So he said, yo, Gene, I need you to come because we need somebody who was in law enforcement or legal that could carry a gun and everything to be with us. He said, and if you ran after me, and this was his own words, because I didn't see it and I didn't know it at the time. You know, he said, if you ran after me and I had a gun in my hand, I want you on my team. I said, I don't fuck with Puff like that, bro. He said, from the city college shit. He said, yo, you're going to have your own contract. You're going to have your own days. All you have to do is listen to me and make sure he good. I said, all right, man, we'll see. And that's when I went back.
Okay, so you joined the security team at Bad Boy with your own contract.
Right.
And Wolf was already over there, and Big Paul was over there as well.
Paul, yeah.
Yeah, Paulie. And Paulie was kind of Puffy's everyday guy?
Yeah, Paul was the guy who Puff helped him set up a security company, had him set up a security company. So he did the security at the house, the apartment building or whatever, and Sean John, and over at Bad Boy and the studios. So he set up all the security.
Amid growing concerns, the prison's medical team conducted a thorough examination of Combs. The attending physician made a startling revelation. Combs had contracted a serious disease while in custody. This diagnosis added a new layer of complexity to his already challenging situation, necessitating immediate medical attention and ongoing care.
All I did was Puff.
Okay. And I guess every so often, Puffy will put you with Big during certain events and so forth, right?
Well, like if we was on stage or Big was on stage, he felt threatened for Big, I guess. He said, yo, Gene, go watch Big. I said, all right, cool. It wouldn't matter.
Okay. So you doing some work for Biggie, did the two of you kind of form a relationship?
I think me and Big, we formed a relationship on two occasions. One, we was in D.C. doing Howard University. He made Puff shut the door down, and the people shut the door down, and it was D-Rock. I think D-Rock's birthday is the 17th, mine is the 16th of October, and he made him shut down the place, and just me and D-Rock bought like 5 outfits together, and then everybody else bought an outfit. And then Big used to just give me all the clothes that he didn't want. Like, you know, you had Nike, Lugs, you had Mecca clothing line. They would bring big boxes to Big everywhere he was at. And then he was like, yo, whatever he didn't want, he'd say, yo, D-Rock, you want this? D-Rock was like, nah, I don't want it. He said, yo, Big Gene, you want it? And then I was like, man, I'll take it and give it to the guys on the block, you know, who was with part of our crew or whatever. But the kid was just good like that. And then we had a situation when we were in Atlanta that something was bought, and he thought I was gonna lie about it because Puff was trying to say it was his, and it wasn't his, it was Big's. And you understand? And when he said, and they had made a bet that I was gonna go on Puff's side. So when I got to the studio, I said, nah, Puff, you had that one, and Big had that one. And that's what it was. And Big looked at me, and you could see a smile on his face like, yo, this nigga's honorable.
Okay. And before all the drama began, did Tupac ever come around? Did you ever see Big and Tupac interact together?
No, I never seen Big and Tupac interact together. I seen Puff and Pac interact together, but I didn't see
really?
Big, yeah.
In what capacity?
Like we was at Roxy. They used to give functions and parties there. And then one time me and Puff walked up in there. It was, this was after Pac got shot and everything like that. And it was Pac and like 4 other guys. And Pac put a cigarette in his mouth. The dude lit the cigarette. I started laughing. I was like, who fuck like a cigarette for? Like that. So then him and Puff talked, and that was it. Was nothing.
Okay, and then the incident happened at Quad Studios.
This was after the incident at Quad, when I seen Pac with Puff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when the situation happened at Quad, Biggie was recording, I think, with Lil Sean. And I think Puffy was there.
News of Combs' health condition quickly leaked, leading to widespread media coverage and speculation. Various outlets reported on the nature of his illness, with some suggesting it was a life-threatening disease. The lack of official statements fueled rumors and heightened public interest in his case.
Still Diddy.
Yeah, he still did it. Come on.
Well, I mean, I went through the filings and the reports. So what they say, according, to the feds, that recorded phone calls made by Diddy showed that he asked family members to reach out to potential victims and witnesses. Also urged them to create narratives to influence the jury pool. Also encouraged them to make marketing strategies to sway the public opinion. Diddy used the telephone accounts of at least 8 different inmates to avoid monitoring. He paid the inmates to intermediaries in violation of the rules, like you said, and he also was using 3-way calls and getting people on the phone, which is illegal. So basically what they said, the defendant has shown repeatedly, even while in custody, that he will flagrantly and repeatedly flout rules in order to improperly impact the outcome of the case. The defendant has shown, in other words, that he cannot be trusted to abide by rules or conditions. And I guess they actually found a note that inferred that he wants to blackmail victims and witnesses into silence by providing testimony, or into providing testimony that's actually helpful to his defense. So I guess what I'm wondering is, he does realize all this is being taped. You're using someone else's, privileges, but they're watching everything.
Okay, a three-way call, it's being recorded. So my takeaway was much different from that. My takeaway was, I'm going to wait for the government to file the superseding indictment, which we all believe is coming, because right now it looks a little thin. And it looks a little pathetic, I'm going to be honest with you. Because, yes, it's great to make Diddy look like this maniacal mob boss, which, of course he's using the influence of his money. But does anyone, again, it's good for the person who never ever dealt with someone in jail. How many inmates, and Vlad, no names here, how many inmates do you know that do three-way call? They all do it.
Yeah.
They all do it.
I talk to inmates
and it's always
on cell phones while locked up in Rikers.
Exactly. And
not going to say who.
And no one is saying, yo, Vlad, this is to influence my case. Sometimes they just call me like, yo, what's the word out there, man? Everything good? You're like, yeah, yo, I'm going to come home soon. It's all good. Blah. Sometimes it's never. So that I thought was a little bit thin. Obviously, they're trying to keep him in jail. Him putting money on other people's books. Yeah, he's a rich guy. He wants to have his privileges, right? Now, this whole thing of him trying to blackmail people, and I hate to even, because some people are going to be like, oh, no, he's getting Diddy's back. No, I'm defending someone who is, and this could be anybody, who's locked up and using whatever he can to his advantage to try to get things looking better for himself before he goes to trial.
Yeah, but some of this stuff is illegal. You can't
everybody does it.
You can't, it doesn't matter if everyone else does it. For everyone else, it'll be a slap on the wrist. Everyone knows this is a big fish. No slaps on the wrist when it comes to Diddy. They're going to prosecute him to the fullest extent in order to keep him in.
Health issues had a direct impact on his legal proceedings. His attorneys filed motions requesting medical bail, arguing that the prison lacked adequate facilities to treat his condition. However, the court remained unconvinced, citing the severity of the charges against him and the potential risk of flight.
The Southern District of New York is expected to hear new testimony today.
Combs' legal team did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges of racketeering, sex trafficking, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He's being held at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center.
NBC News entertainment correspondent Chloe Malas joins us with more on her reporting here. Chloe, good morning. Good to have you with us. So what can you tell us about the testimony expected today?
So NBC News actually spoke to the attorney for this male who's going to be testifying this afternoon around 3 p.m. in front of a grand jury. Her name is Ariel Mitchell. She has represented other civil accusers. And this is incredibly significant because I was at the last hearing for Combs in downtown Manhattan, and I listened to Emily Johnson, one of the U.S. attorneys, one of the prosecutors who is trying this case, say that there might be another indictment. So this just goes to show you that federal prosecutors, that criminal investigation is ongoing. Now, it's unclear what this man will be saying. Remember, grand juries are secret. You're not supposed to know the date and when the grand juries are convening, but obviously we have this great reporting, and we know that a male is going to be testifying this afternoon, and it's unclear if there will be more charges coming. And like you said, Diddy's legal team, they haven't responded because they can't comment on grand jury proceedings, and the U.S. Attorney's Office hasn't said anything either.
So that's the latest on the criminal side. There's also some civil issues here. Combs faces more than a dozen civil lawsuits. The most recent was filed on Monday. Only one has been settled so far. What's the timeline looking like for these civil cases?
So he has been coming out denying all the accusations against him, both criminal and civil, and he has been fighting them. As we know, he settled with Cassandra Cassie Ventura, his ex-girlfriend, last year for an undisclosed amount of money that was reported to be in the tens of millions of dollars. But I do want to point out something that's really interesting. Last night, a ruling came down from a U.S. district judge in New York stating that one of the civil accusers, a woman who remains anonymous, she goes by Jane Doe, in this civil suit filed by Tony Busby. He's the attorney out of Texas that has filed several lawsuits against Diddy. The judge ruled that this woman had to reveal her identity, or in a few weeks, she's actually going to dismiss this entire case. And this is incredibly significant because could that mean that other civil accusers will face the same fate and have to come forward? The judge said that the idea that she needed to remain anonymous because she was afraid of Combs potentially hurting her or threatening her seemed unlikely because he's currently behind bars awaiting trial. They also said that, yes, in the ruling, the judge said, yes, it's humiliating. It's hard to come forward and to put your name out there, but that does not outweigh the reasons for you having to come forward and put your name to it. So we've reached out to Combs' legal team for comment. This is a win for them. They haven't said anything. I've also reached out to Tony Busby, who filed this suit, and he was the one that filed those new lawsuits, Joe, on Monday. So again, it'll be interesting to see if this affects these civil cases. And again, Combs is expected to go to trial on May 5th. So it's going to be interesting to see, though, if things are going to get pushed back, or could this extend the length of the trial if there is another criminal indictment?
Yeah, and that's that criminal trial. And you do think that will stay on track for May?
So according to both sides, they believe that this is going to take place on May 5th. But if there are more criminal charges, it could mean that about a 2.5, 3 week trial could extend to even longer. So you could see this going on for quite some time.
All right, Chloe, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.
Something more sinister, perhaps the result of stress, malnutrition, or even foul play. While no official confirmation has been made, the rumors are enough to send shockwaves through his fan base and beyond.
From his $48 million Miami mansion to hell on earth where chaos reigns. Just some of the words used to describe the Metropolitan Detention Center where Sean Diddy Combs is now being held without bail after pleading not guilty to sex trafficking and racketeering charges.
Combs abused, threatened, and coerced victims to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct.
He is not the first high-profile inmate to pass through these walls. Ghislaine Maxwell, R. Kelly, Pharma Bro, Martin Shkreli, and crypto fraudster Sam Bankman-Fried, all as they waited for their federal criminal trials, called this jail home. But the conditions of the prison are far from homey, notoriously described as, quote, dreadful, as one judge put it. Some on the bench have even moved away from sending nonviolent defendants there. In April, a group of detainees that prosecutors said were MS-13 gang members in court documents stabbed an inmate 44 times in an attack caught on camera. 2 shivs were recovered from the attack. You see them here. The victim survived. And in the last 3 years alone, 4 inmates have died by suicide. And violence is not the only issue. Accusations of medical neglect, staffing shortages, smuggling of drugs, some allegedly facilitated by employees. At least 6 staff members charged with crimes in the last 5 years, according to the AP. Some accused of accepting bribes and providing contraband.
I've had clients describe NBC as hell, as the worst conditions they've been in.
Lance A. Clark is a federal defense attorney who's been there many times.
Now, if the government is going to mandate that they are responsible for your well-being, they have to ensure the safety of your well-being.
Occupy the streets until they get heat. In the winter of 2019, protests over a power outage left inmates without light or heat for a week in the cold.
I understand how cold it must be in those cells, and not to have any electricity, any lights, and to not be able to communicate with your family is just inhumane.
The prison has about 1,200 detainees and is the only federal prison in the nation's largest city. The DOJ shut down New York City's other federal jail, the Metropolitan Correctional Center, back in 2021, 2 years after Jeffrey Epstein died by suicide there. A Bureau of Prisons spokesman telling NBC News they, quote, take seriously addressing the staffing and other challenges at MDC Brooklyn, adding the director appointed an urgent action team.
Amid the unfolding drama, television personality Wendy Williams made headlines by predicting that Combs would spend the rest of his life in prison. She alluded to undisclosed information about his past activities, suggesting that his incarceration was inevitable. These statements sparked debates and further intensified media scrutiny.
And the problems aren't resolved.
Combs' lawyers originally hoping he could await trial under house arrest at his mansion, now arguing for him to be moved to a prison in New Jersey in the lead up to this trial, citing the prison's poor conditions, violence, and deaths. On Wednesday, his lawyer said he was being held in a special housing unit with an extra level of security.
Yasmin's back with us now. So what is next? Is he going to be in jail in this facility until the trial begins? Is there a chance he could, get moved earlier than that?
As of this moment, as of this hour, as of today, yes. But of course, as I mentioned earlier, they're going to be appealing this thing next to the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals to overturn the judge's order here to try and get him actually released to his mansion on $50 million bail, wanting a GPS monitoring system, limited visits from family members, friends, so on and so forth. That is what they're proposing because of course, the violence I talked about in that piece inside these jail walls. They also, in the meantime, Hal, want to get him moved to a jail and or prison in New Jersey. The judge so far has essentially said that is up to the Bureau of Prisons to make that decision. Nonetheless, it's all going to be on appeals leading up to the trial. His next court appearance, by the way, October 9th. So looking for that, of course, and any decisions coming out from the Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals on this order.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.
A rapid decline in his health and the immense psychological pressure, prison authorities placed Combs on suicide watch. This precautionary measure aimed to ensure his safety, as concerns grew about his mental state and ability to cope with the incarceration conditions.
Trafficking racketeering charges. Scripps News national correspondent Alex Miller is live in New York City where this hearing happened earlier today. Alex, there was already a hearing earlier this week looking at notes taken out of Sean Combs' cell. How could that impact his chances at bail? His team says that raiding his cell, monitoring his calls is not allowed and not fair to allow him to prep for a trial.
You know, it'll be interesting to see if this ends up happening. We just got out of this hearing nearly 2 hours long, and they only talked about these notes at the very beginning. They discussed essentially whether or not they said the word legal on them. And there was a bit of a discrepancy from the defense. Essentially, they backtracked on this even just a little bit. Essentially, he had these binders, legal pads that, according to the photographs from the raid on his cell, did not say the word legal. All of a sudden, now they do. And the defense couldn't exactly say when the word legal was written. And that matters because if it said legal on any of these notes, that is part of attorney-client privilege. Those are things that should not have been taken out of his cell. So there is a big question about that. But Nate, the bigger issue here now is he going to get out? As of tonight, he is still going back to his jail cell. But next week, we will know whether or not he is going to be able to get out until his trial. So the big discussion here, according to the government, is can they trust him? He has proposed a whole laundry list of things that he's willing to do if they'll let him out. Things like 24/7 security, things like not speaking to anybody, not having internet access, phone access, unless it's through this 24/7 security company. But the government and pretrial services, who is separate from the prosecution, they're not buying it. They're saying that they cannot trust Sean Combs to not follow the law or to not follow the rules that he has even set out for himself. They say because he's already broken the rules that the department, the Bureau of Prisons, and his own counsel have laid out for him within a jail cell. So they're essentially saying if he can't do it there, how could he do it in the comfort of an apartment? They had tried to get him released to Star Island, his home on Star Island right in Miami, because it's an island and there's a dock there. The judge immediately said absolutely not because
Reports surfaced that Combs was refusing to eat, fearing that his food might be poisoned. This behavior was interpreted as a sign of increasing paranoia, possibly exacerbated by his health condition and the stress of his legal battles. Medical staff monitored him closely to prevent further deterioration.
Michael's with me now. Let's just deal with if you will, the logistics before we turn to the gravamen. The refusal of bail in these circumstances, bearing in mind he'd flown to New York to turn himself in, so he was preempted by the police. Are you surprised that he was refused bail?
Well, I'm glad to be with you. I'm not surprised at all. I mean, the nature of these charges are so serious, the allegations are so serious, that it's not surprising that this hearing he was denied bail. The judge has to look at things like whether or not he can be expected to return to court. Does he have the manner and means to perhaps evade law enforcement and not appear? Is he a flight risk, in other words? And so I think at this point, the judge has decided that the fact that he was doing these acts in secret did not obviously lend much to his statements that he will be open and available. So Not surprised at all, but again, we will see what the district judge now does, since the case has been, or the decision has been at least appealed, whether or not there are some terms of bail that might make the court comfortable that he will show up for court.
Now, turning to the charges themselves, they are amongst the most serious, which would involve very long periods of incarceration if convicted. But it also raises the question, if there was a plea deal at some point in the future, to plead down from these very serious charges, the lesser accepted offences would also be serious and could end up in prison.
I think any plea discussion of the case, because you have such significant impact on the victims of the case, would necessitate that he be sentenced to prison in some way. I just don't think that a judge would take and place him on probation or some type of house arrest given the allegations that were made, no matter what the plea discussions were. And remember, the prosecution and a defendant can negotiate a plea amongst themselves, but a court has the decision finally on whether or not to accept that recommendation, and ultimately has the authority to make a decision about whether or not a prison sentence is appropriate. We operate under the federal sentencing guidelines. Those give the judge some parameters to consider, things like whether or not somebody accepts responsibility, whether or not there have been an adverse impact on victims, whether or not there's been excessive fraud and deceit through the investigation of the case. Those things come into play as we talk about what might happen if there is a plea agreement that's ultimately reached.
It's important to remember, besides obviously he's innocent until proven guilty at the moment, but it's also important to remember that not being a nice person, being an unnice person, if you will, is not a crime. They're going to have to prove the elements of the offences in these cases. Just because he might not be likable is not enough to get you locked up.
Yet, one can't help but wonder, is there more to this story? Diddy's legal team argues that the conditions at MDC are unfit for anyone, let alone someone awaiting trial. They've highlighted the facility's long history of neglect and abuse, pointing to the tragic death of Jeffrey Epstein as a glaring example.
An indictment. These are merely allegations, and he has a right to have his case tried in court, and the government has to prove that he's guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. The indictment, the allegations we heard from the United States Attorney in New York, these are sordid details. They are particularly troubling as it relates to whether or not the allegations are true, on whether or not certain people, victims in the case, were given drugs at the time to get them to do these sex acts, whether or not there's been some effort to blackmail or extort or silence victims in the case by the use of videotaped, and to call it pornography would probably be too nice. I would just say dark type of pornography, it sounds like. These are things that a judge is going to have to consider as we go forward.
Finally, back to the logistics, if you will. He was prepared to turn himself in today, so we understand. The arrest removed from him the almost right to bail. Since I was going to turn myself in, I'm entitled to bail if I'd had turned myself in. By arresting him, the prosecution removed that possibility.
Well, they certainly removed the argument for him to make that he had turned himself in. It's mighty hard to, when you fly into town on a jet and you're there, to argue that there's no possible way you could be a flight risk. And that's one of the things the judge would consider. Another thing would be the nature of the charges, the allegations that were made. They spanned a long period of time. There were efforts to influence witnesses, it sounds like. At least that's been an allegation that has been made. These are all things that get put into that decision. The fact that he just would have turned himself in, that would have been in his favor. But there are so many other factors at play that it wouldn't have surprised me to see a court dig into those a little bit in making a decision on whether bail would be appropriate. And at this stage, a judge has determined that bail is not appropriate. He has a right, and has done apparently so, to appeal that decision and have another hearing on it. At that time, his lawyers will have a chance to make these arguments about the efforts that he was making to cooperate and to get there. The term cooperation, frankly, sometimes gets to be a little loosey-goosey, depending on who's wanting to use the argument to their benefit.
We'll talk more in the future. I'm grateful, sir. Thank you.
Could Diddy's current predicament be a result of systemic issues within the prison system? Or is it a case of justice finally catching up with someone who believed he was untouchable?
Diddy Combs has been denied bail in connection with the sexual abuse and sex trafficking charges he faces. And as Les Trent reports, the music mogul who once traveled by private jet to all those mansions is now in a jail that is notorious for its bad living conditions.
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs spent his first night behind bars inside a facility that is being called Hell on Earth. The Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn is notorious for its appalling living conditions and rampant violence. How bad is it inside this federal lockup? There have been 2 murders, 4 suicides, and numerous stabbings and lockdowns in recent years. It's so out of control inside that 4 federal judges are reportedly refusing to send any more prisoners here. Donald Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, spent a harrowing year in federal custody. He says for someone used to a life of luxury like Diddy, prison life is a severe shock.
You have a desk, you have a plastic chair, you have your bed with a 1.5-inch mattress, no pillow, and you also have a locker. So you basically have 3 feet by 5 feet to move around. So you have a basic 15 square feet. It is a horrible, horrible place.
Diddy's lawyers were so eager to keep him out of jail, they offered his palatial $48 million home in Miami Beach and his private jets as bail. Today, they are even offering to restrict female visitors to his homes, except for his mother, daughters, and the mothers of his children if he is released. They told the judge the jail he was being sent to is dreadful, dirty, inhuman, and an ongoing tragedy.
How's your dad?
In light of his worsening condition, Combs' legal team intensified their efforts to secure his release on medical grounds. They presented evidence of his declining health and argued that the prison environment was detrimental to his recovery. Despite their efforts, the court maintained its stance, prioritizing the gravity of the charges over his health concerns.
Is now being accused of obstructing justice.
Diddy running the jail, man. He running the spot.
Right. According to you, the inmates are fighting over making his bed.
Yep. Well, really, according to Lisa Evers, I want to give her credit. Lisa Evers does an amazing job covering all things, within the New York metropolitan area. She interviewed an inmate that spent some time at MDC Brooklyn alongside Diddy. And, remember, we're all thinking that Diddy's like in super isolation. He doesn't talk to no inmates. We later find out via even court filings by the government, he does. And this one inmate looked like he's not wrong because he says, hey, listen, Diddy's such a big player in the game in terms of, his power and he's that guy even in jail. Dudes are getting jealous at other dudes based on who made his bed. And I'm like, yo.
So that's a real thing? Yeah. People are actually making his bed?
Yeah.
I thought you were just joking.
Listen, there's an inmate that said it. There's an inmate that said it, that Lisa Evers, who works for Fox 5.
No, I know Lisa. Yeah. I've done her show before.
Of course. So that's what that inmate said. And I think some people wanted to call it cap till we realized that, the filing that came out on Friday or Thursday by the government, which is a response to Diddy's new motion for bail, essentially said Diddy is using like 8 other inmates, like personal access codes to call everybody he wants.
Exactly.
It's like, add this person to the call, add this person. Yo, like he's running the jail. So these inmates, I completely believe, and by the way, this is how the government paints it. He's getting them paid directly through what they call these cash processing systems.
Yeah.
So, probably tells his people, send her $1,000. Send his mom, send his girl, cool. And then the inmate in there with him is like, we're going to have your commissary filled. You're going to move around like a king like me. So I get why this is happening. And the only thing I look at is like, why did people believe or think anything otherwise? Like, you think you're going to normalize a billionaire that could have any type? Like, if Diddy walked in a room and this guy's of significant money, power, and even respect, despite whatever happened, and y'all are all in jail, you're not going to be like, yo, bro, he usually don't got to bring his tray over there to throw it away. No, I'll do it because I want to be cool with him. I got my people outside. Like, shit, I have a public defender. This guy is spending $2.some million a month on lawyers. He could throw me, even if he throws me $2,500. Hey, nobody can touch Diddy in here. Matter of fact, I'm going to act like I could be the most bitch-made dude. Hey, I'm just letting y'all know, anybody want to get to him, y'all got to go through me. I'll take the ass whooping for. So this kind of sounds normal. However, I think people thought Diddy was done when he got to jail. Like, okay, you're finally a regular person. And they're realizing, Diddy didn't work on them.
Fans and fellow artists expressed deep concern over Combs' situation. Social media platforms were flooded with messages of support, and petitions were launched advocating for his humane treatment and access to proper medical care. The public outcry highlighted the broader issues of prison conditions and inmates' rights.
To jail as he awaits trial in the explosive sex trafficking and racketeering case against him. Prosecutors describe a large criminal ring orchestrated by Combs to sexually abuse dozens of women, drugging them, beating them, and recording sexual acts for at least 15 years. The move from the judge to hold the musician mogul in jail before his trial comes as prosecutors argue Combs, his massive wealth, makes him a flight risk. And they're also accusing him of witness tampering, trying to keep both them, witnesses, and his victims silent. Combs' team offered a $50 million bond agreement, with his attorney claiming Combs is, in his words, eminently trustworthy. The judge didn't buy it. It is a stunning fall from the height of pop culture. Combs, however, is pleading not guilty and has denied any wrongdoing. Let's bring in NBC's Chloe Malas for more. And Chloe, there are no phones, no electronics allowed in court.
We actually have breaking news. We have some breaking news right now. According to NBC News, just moments ago, I'm reading off my phone right now, Sean Diddy Combs will not be released. And this is per the district attorney's office. So let me explain and silence my phone and break down what exactly that means, or else my kids will call me during this entire segment. So this basically means, Tom, that now Sean Diddy Combs sits behind bars until this potentially goes to trial. Why do I say potentially? Even though his attorney, Mark Agnifilo, spoke to CNN last night and said that it is very unlikely that he would accept any sort of a plea deal. And we don't even know if a plea deal would even be on the table with these very extreme criminal charges of racketeering, transportation when it comes to prostitution and sex trafficking. We do know that this could be potentially a year behind bars. I was talking to NBC's legal analyst and correspondent Laura Jarrett earlier today. And, there's so many motions and, so much discovery to do, as you know, and you've covered things like this, I'm sure, that it takes a while to get ready for a big criminal trial like this when there's so many charges and so many different grand jury subpoenas and things like that. So currently, though, he is in jail. And that's what it is. Everybody asks me the difference between jail and prison. You go to prison after you've been found guilty. Right now, he's in jail, and he's in jail in Brooklyn. And this is one of the main issues that his legal team had, was that this detention center in Brooklyn has seen suicides. It saw somebody get killed over the summer, food contamination, overcrowding, and they listed all of this in their filing to the judge. But clearly, this federal judge was not persuaded, Tom. And so now that's it. He stays behind bars while he waits to have this trial.
The entertainment world is no stranger to scandals, but Diddy's story feels different. It's not just about a celebrity falling from grace. It's a complex web of power, privilege, and the darker side of fame.
Court.
Well, he is a celebrity. That's an understatement. He is an icon. And what are the chances that he gets any sort of preferential or royal treatment in the jail? Or, given the charges that are so significant and serious against him, is he going to be treated like any other inmate?
That's incredibly hard to say, right? When you see, and I don't want to generalize here, but when you do see, let's say, accusations against minors, which we don't see in this indictment. You can sometimes see some of these high-profile alleged criminals maybe put into solitary confinement. Will he be treated like any other inmate while he's in this detention center in Brooklyn? It's sort of left to be seen. I think that over the coming weeks, we'll see what happens and what types of motions that his team files if they feel as though he is under immediate threat, or if he gets, beat up in prison or in jail. See, I made that mistake. If he gets beat up in jail or if something like that happens, I guess maybe always things could change. I mean, look at Harvey Weinstein, for example. Not that I want to compare the two, but Harvey Weinstein has been been treated in a medical ward because he has all of these medical issues, right? And so the judge had decided even today that he can still stay in the medical ward. So again, I think it's a case-by-case basis, and we have to see how this all plays out. But let's just put it this way. Sean Diddy Combs is a billionaire. He achieved billionaire status in 2022. He is not going to be happy, Tom, being in jail. And this is a far cry from his multi-million-dollar homes all across this country. So obviously it's a huge fall from grace for somebody that was such a pioneer in the music industry.
Yeah, but to your point, Chloe, if it were you or me, not suggesting either one of us would ever face these kinds of charges, but there is no way we'd be out on bail or bond, right? I mean, these are incredibly serious charges that could land him in prison for years and years and years, and they involve violence, not to mention racketeering.
Yeah, and
thanks for
media played a pivotal role in shaping public perception of Combs' plight. Sensationalized reports and speculative stories often overshadowed factual reporting, leading to misinformation and divided opinions. This phenomenon underscored the media's influence in high-profile legal cases.
One of these individuals accused, I would certainly request for that before agreeing to any out-of-court settlement. Otherwise, it kind of takes away the point of doing it out of court. It's going to end up being public. I might as well continue to fight the allegations.
And sometimes, Catherine, when you're a victim in human trafficking or sex crimes like this, money can't always satisfy you. And do you foresee any of these individuals, whether it's men or women, coming forward later, even though they've signed the NDA, even though they've been paid, saying, look, it was me and this is who did it?
Well, after you get paid,
right?
Okay, and you done spent that money, and then you got to take care of the I, the R, and the S, who are real pimps, then they're going to talk. You know, what's done in the dark comes to the light. And I know you don't have a 50-foot bed in your backyard, do you?
Don't assume too much.
I'm just trying to tell you. But it's interesting because I was, you know, I've been following it, and today on TMZ, you know, it was stated that a celebrity that's bigger than P. Diddy.
This isn't just a story about Sean Diddy Combs. It's a story about the fragility of power, the consequences of unchecked privilege, and the unforgiving nature of justice.
Well, Sean Combs still behind bars as we speak after a judge denied his request for bail a second time. And the place where he's locked up now getting a lot of attention. The Metropolitan Detention Center, the only federal jail in New York City, is known for violence, poor conditions, and a string of celebrity detainees. And Diddy's attorneys want him out. NBC News' Yasmin Youssian has more.
From his $48 million Miami mansion to hell on earth where chaos reigns. Just some of the words used to describe the Metropolitan Detention Center where Sean Diddy Combs is now being held without bail after pleading not guilty to sex trafficking and racketeering charges.
Combs abused, threatened, and coerced victims to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct.
He is not the first high-profile inmate to pass through these walls. Ghislaine Maxwell, R. Kelly, Pharma Bro, Martin Shkreli, and crypto fraudster Sam Bankman-Fried, all as they waited for their federal criminal trials, called this jail home. But the conditions of the prison are far from homey, notoriously described as, quote, dreadful, as one judge put it. Some on the bench have even moved away from sending nonviolent defendants there. In April, a group of detainees that prosecutors said were MS-13 gang members in court documents stabbed an inmate 44 times in an attack caught on camera. 2 shivs were recovered from the attack. You see them here. The victim survived. And in the last 3 years alone, 4 inmates have died by suicide. And violence is not the only issue. Accusations of medical neglect, staffing shortages, smuggling of drugs, some allegedly facilitated by employees. At least 6 staff members charged with crimes in the last 5 years.
Yo. So it is crazy when after 20 years they come out. That shit is foul.
But with Puffy, you were the only one saying anything for decades.
Yeah, because we had our own little thing.
But you were the only. Everybody else was scared.
Huh?
But everybody else was scared. So you think maybe this is a similar thing where everybody else is scared? I don't know what it is. I'm just asking.
I think that they're scared.
But if they scared,
But
then maybe
you've
that's
been
why they control.
insinuating Jay-Z a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you've been saying people gonna come for him a little bit.
No,
You've been
I thought he would do funky stuff like the Super Bowl. Like it was not okay for me to be at the Super Bowl.
Oh, he tried to cut that.
Yeah, he didn't want me to. Well, they worked to make like there was an issue with me in the NFL that doesn't exist.
So he did the corporate way of trying to keep you down. Oh, it's not me. It's them.
It's them. And then when M says he's not going to do it if I'm not there,
let's go.
Yeah. You know.
That's what what's your and Jay's issue?
It's just competitive stuff.
It's really just competitive.
This is what I'm saying. When it gets past actual art, like actual music, and you're trying to block something that's in business, then it feels weird. It feels like we should be having beef.
Oh,
okay.
So that's the behind the scenes thing that we don't see. It's one thing when there's like people talking about each other in music, but there's behind the scenes business deals that a guy is getting involved with on the side, and it's not like you're going to go public and be like, they tried to stop my vitamin water.
This deal, and you go, he said that to you, like.
Okay. Wow.
I get that. Like they'll speak to your temperament. Like say, you know, if 50's a little crazy, he'll say anything. You see what saying anything did to Kanye.
So they're trying. He's basically trying to scare people out of doing deals with you. Interesting. And then M shut it down, and he was like, "Yo, it's got to happen."
If he's not coming, I'm not coming. And then it changes the whole thing because he really is the biggest one.
Yeah.
Like you know, they can say what they want.
Yeah. No.
But
The world of hip-hop is always full of drama and scandal. One of the latest bombshells involves Jay-Z, 50 Cent, and Diddy. 50 Cent dropped a huge claim in his documentary, exposing Jay-Z in connection with Diddy. But this isn't just another celebrity feud, this one is serious. 50 Cent accused both Diddy and Jay-Z of illegal activities, including blackmail. Jay-Z didn't stay quiet, and the tension between these two industry giants only grew.
And that was before the days of the bots and all that shit.
There's a, you know, M obviously speaks with you with high praise, but there's a few videos that I see, and everybody talks about how funny you are. They talk about obviously the album's all the success, but like Eminem specifically talks about your rapping skill a lot.
Yeah.
Is that mean a lot? I'm like,
it does. Like you know, look, he never left that part of the creativity. Like he would go back when you don't see him. He's back. He's in his regimen of the studio.
Yeah.
And this is why, like, he kind of, they can't, you can be as good as him, but you can't really beat him at that. Because you have to put all your energy there.
And you're just not going to do it. Once these guys get famous, they leave the studio.
And they go, and the thing that makes him feel good is yo, you heard what I did last night? And it gives him that again. So if that's really what's driving you, it's really tough to be better than. And some of them may have a gift. It may be a God-given talent that they can rap the way we speak, but they don't work as hard as them. It's like Kobe Bryant was outperforming people because he would work harder, conditioning himself to do it. And other than him, I don't think nobody is.
Who's the most talented rapper you've seen, period? Just talent, natural born.
Maybe Craig G. Like when an artist can freestyle, like without thinking about anything, and it just all falls in line and sing. Sometimes they can end up rapping it's so easy for them that they don't know exactly what to rap about. You see what I'm saying?
Technically, it's good.
And even Eminem, because I remember those freestyles where they would just give him a word and he just has to
go.
You can do that too.
Yeah.
You can go.
But you're right. Sometimes you miss like the connectivity with the music. Like there's songs, there's comedy where it might not even be like the most perfect joke, but it makes you feel the thing.
Yes,
and that's better to you.
That it connects.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and look, a lot of times, if there's no truth to it, it's not funny.
Yeah.
It has to have some sort of connection that's grounded in truth, but it's almost a warped perspective being offered by the comedian. The timing, the way it comes in. And I look at it, I'm like, yo, that's good.
Yeah.
That's great. Like, you know, and you see things like the white party would be there and then they have a little baby like in a sandwich. Like they're hugging him for the front and the back and stuff. And I'm like, yo, get off of him. That's one of my favorite new artists. Like, yo, get off him. I don't want him going to those
What's up with the hugging pictures at the white party, though? What is that?
I don't know, bro.
Every picture is a little
Why
bit...
is everyone so happy to be there? I'm like, this regular parties, people don't just hug each other.
You had
like,
to sit in
like,
4
man,
hours of traffic
like
to
5
drive
minutes.
to
Come on, let's have a group hug. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is like, hug. I'm going to shake your hand. Hey, what's up, man? Everything good? Yeah.
It does feel control. Yo, hold on, baby. That's
So what exactly did 50 Cent say to upset Jay-Z? During an interview on Fox News, 50 Cent claimed that Diddy has been blackmailing celebrities for years. This would be huge if true. But the biggest part came when 50 Cent said Jay-Z was involved in Diddy's alleged illegal activities. He even suggested that Beyoncé might be connected to it because of a lawsuit Jay-Z filed against him.
Myla Morales. She's a former makeup artist for Diddy and also Cassie Ventura, working for Diddy for years and eventually becoming a friend of Cassie's. In 2010, Myla alleges that she heard Cassie being physically abused and was a witness to the aftermath of the alleged attack. She joins me now. Myla, thank you so much for being here. This has been, for so many people, illuminating, infuriating, troubling, devastating. You can go down the list of things, but it's so difficult to speak about.
I know.
Being a witness of anything. Tell me how you must be feeling just knowing that this has even come to light.
Well, I have kept this secret for like 14 years. I mean, the first time I experienced it was 2010. And I was in the hotel room when Puff came in, and I had no idea Cassie left. And when I woke up, I just saw his presence come into the room. They went into the bedroom and shut the door, and all I could hear is screaming and yelling and whatever was going on in there, I don't know. But all I could think of was to grab Cassie's things and start packing it up and just getting her out to safety and bringing her to my house. So that's kind of like what transpired from that night. And once she came out of the room, she was badly, beaten.
Oh my God. What did her physical appearance look like?
I mean, it was knots on her head, black eye, busted lip, but a lot of knots all over her head.
Did she go to the police at that point or anything?
No, we didn't know what to do at that point because, Puffy is a very powerful person and we were quite terrified. So I just, brought her to my house, and my friend, who is a doctor, I called her, and thank God she was in town because we didn't know what to do. And she treated her for, just to make sure she didn't have a concussion or anything like that. But it was really it was painful to see Cassie like that because she's such a beautiful human being, and for a man to just hurt any sort of woman or child or animal, it doesn't matter. But Cass is a good friend of mine, and I just felt, I just didn't know what to do. I felt like I don't even know how to describe how I felt that night.
Did she describe how she was feeling about having that happen? Did you get a sense that this was the first time?
It didn't feel like it. Because it wasn't, it was almost like, I feel like she might have been embarrassed that happened in front of me.
These are serious accusations, blackmail, illegal operations, and the biggest names in hip-hop tied to it all. If these claims are true, the fallout would be massive. Diddy, Jay-Z, and Beyoncé have built empires in music, business, fashion, and sports. Their reputations are everything, and being linked to something as damaging as blackmail could change everything for them.
Talking about even predates what we saw in this horrific video from a hotel floor. When that video came out, what did it feel like knowing that had now been public?
No, I was devastated when I saw that video because it was like I witnessed what could have happened in that room and more, So that was a hallway incident. Who knows what happened, in that room when I was outside of there. And I was devastated. Actually, I've been devastated since the court cases came out and how, he
mistreated Cassie.
He has settled the suit involving her specifically, but there are others, and there are sources that are telling CNN that the majority of the people currently suing Diddy are actually speaking to federal investigators, which indicates the Justice Department might be moving close to an indictment. So do you think that Cassie would testify against him if federal investigators asked her to or compelled her to?
I'm really not sure. Like I said, I can't speak for Cass, but I hope she does. I hope she does, because she's the only one that would know all the information that's gone on over the years. So,
Mila, why do you think? I mean, we've heard certainly, a lot of people in the industry condemn Diddy for what they saw on that video, but it hasn't been a universal outcry within the industry specifically. Why do you think that is?
Because it's a very small industry, and that we all know each other, and I feel like people are afraid to speak up about it. And the only reason why I am is because I'm a friend of Cass's, and I really care about her very much so. And I'm outraged and very, very heartbroken about how he's been treating her. It just it breaks my heart, and I just can't imagine a man treating a woman that way. And not just a woman, but a friend of mine that I've known since she was a teenager. So, I've known Cassie before all of this. So it disgusts me.
I can only imagine, of all the women that you have worked with and people who are eager to be in the industry, what they are exposed to, how they could be exploited and abused in a variety of ways. And that's why the idea that not hearing so many more people speak up is very frustrating and hurtful for so many people.
It is frustrating and hurtful, even
Yeah.
for me, because I know what goes on behind the scenes, and I just can't imagine why nobody's speaking up. I mean, everyone's just hush hush and quiet. I don't know, maybe they're scared. I mean, we've all been scared, so,
I hope this is a turning point, Mila
I
Morales.
think so.
I really hope it is. Thank you so much for joining me
I hope
tonight.
so.
Now, 50 Cent is known for stirring up drama, and we need to take these claims with a grain of salt. He's had public feuds with both Jay-Z and Diddy for years. This isn't the first time he's made explosive claims. 50 Cent's career thrives on creating controversy, so we have to wonder, what's the truth behind these allegations?
And because of look, Jay-Z and them was putting it together. So I think they still harbor some energy towards me.
You think you were purposely left out of the ad?
No. I don't think. I think that they were saying the NFL has some issues with me that I don't know what those issues are. What is the issue? You see what I'm saying? And I with M, because with Nori he had communication. He said, yeah, I talked to the big homie. He was saying to Jay, he was telling me, the white boy wouldn't do the truth without 50, right? And I'm like, that's when I start saying crazy stuff, because I look and I go, oh, that's your big homie, right? And so he imaged himself after a gay painter. The big homie want to look like a gay painter.
What are we talking about here?
We're talking about Basquiat. He wants to look like a gay painter.
Oh my God, I think I know where we're going with
So
this.
now look, what I'm saying to you is, look, when you start looking at, that's not mine, that's theirs, they Harper, right? But when you look at, M is looking at the entire legacy.
Yeah.
The whole thing, with M, Dre, and myself.
How did Jay-Z respond to these accusations? He's built a billion-dollar empire, so how does he handle something this serious? Jay-Z is known for staying out of public squabbles, especially legal matters. He's a strategist who prefers to let his actions speak. But when 50 Cent went after him, Jay-Z had no choice but to respond.
Accused of raping a 13-year-old girl with Sean Diddy Combs during an MTV VMA after party in the year 2000. The rapper issued a blistering statement in response and directed his comments at attorney Tony Busby, who filed the suit, saying, quote, "You've made a terrible error in judgment thinking that all celebrities are the same. I'm not from your world. I'm a young man who made it out of the project of Brooklyn. We don't play these types of games. We have very strict codes and honor. We protect children. You seem to exploit people for personal gain. I look forward to showing you just how different I am." Criminal defense attorney Lexi Rigdon joins me now. Lexi, good morning to you. What a development here. So another thing Jay-Z said in his statement is that this was a civil suit filed against him. And he said these allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one, essentially saying, if I really did these things, treat me the way I should be treated. So how should we be thinking about all of this? What do you think?
Well, that's some denial from him. And, you know, sometimes celebrities have pretty muted denials, like, you know, I'm not going to comment now, or I direct all questions to my lawyers. I actually admire the strength of the denial. You know, I think that at this point, there's no objective indicia of reliability to this complaint. Now, obviously, things are going to play out and we're going to end up learning more. But if you look at it on its face, it's a 24-year-old complaint. Very significantly, he was not named in the lawsuit in the first instance when it was filed. The girl was allegedly 13 at the time it happened. And in the complaint, it says that she had been given something and she was, quote unquote, woozy. And so I think that this just needs to be looked at in kind of a measured way. Unlike the media is treating some people in the media, you know, Pete Hegseth being one of them, where they automatically hear an allegation and they run with it. I think that this needs to be treated in a measured type of way. We don't need knee-jerk societal reactions. Anybody can make allegations against somebody, and people who are rich and famous are particularly targets. And so obviously I don't know what happened, but I think it just needs to play out, and you know, we need to give him the benefit of the doubt at this point.
Well, that's what Tony Busby is saying. And so this federal lawsuit was originally filed in October. So interesting that we're only learning about this now. And then Tony Busby responded to Jay-Z's statement by writing this on X. "Since I sent the letter on her behalf," meaning the defendant, "Mr. Carter has not only sued me, but he has tried to bully and harass me and this plaintiff. We will let the filing speak for itself and will litigate the..."
Jay-Z's response wasn't loud or flashy, but it was effective. He hit back with grace and confidence, showing why he's one of the most respected businessmen in the world. Jay-Z knew this wasn't just about the allegations. It was about protecting his brand and legacy.
Lawsuit against his client, citing an NBC News exclusive that found inconsistencies with the accuser's account.
We expect Mr. Carter to be fully cleared of all of this in the coming days. Almost nothing that she says has checked out because this never happened.
This in the wake of our interview with a 38-year-old mother from Alabama who accuses Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter, and Sean Diddy Combs of raping her when she was 13 years old. She asked us not to reveal her identity.
What made you want to come forward?
Because I think that I've been quiet long enough.
She says that she might have some facts wrong, but that she says the incident happened. What do you say to that?
You know, anybody, when they make up a claim, they can just keep repeating it and getting it right. But you never get the details right. And what happened during her interview with you is that the story began to unravel.
On the night of the MTV Video Music Awards in 2000, she says Combs' limo driver took her to an after party. There, she says she spoke to musician Benji Madden and his brother.
I'm talking to Benji Madden about his tattoo. That's the Last Supper.
In a statement to NBC News, a representative for the Maddens confirmed they did not attend the 2000 VMAs and that they were on tour in the Midwest at that time. At the after party, she says she had a drink that made her feel woozy. Then she says Combs and Carter both raped her. She says she ran to a gas station where she called her father, who picked her up.
We rode home in silence. She didn't ask me what happened.
In an interview with NBC News, her father said he could not corroborate her story. "I feel like I would remember that, and I don't," he said. The woman revealed to us that she has autism and previously suffered a head injury. In a follow-up phone interview, we asked her about the contradictions, and she said that she stands by her statements.
This woman is standing by her story. It happened over 20 years ago. Maybe her memory is hazy. Maybe her father doesn't remember that night.
No, she's doubled down on certain of these details. She says, I'm positive. She points out the tattoo. She talks about the tattoo in vivid detail. Turns out that's completely false. And the father is supposed to be picking her up. 10-hour drive, round trip to pick her up in the middle of the night. Has no memory of that. No one has come forward about this in nearly a quarter of a century, and that's because this never happened.
Spyro said he's not only seeking justice for Jay-Z, he says that he also wants to expose the accuser's attorney, Tony Busby.
He takes away the voices from real victims, and he causes real harm. If this lawyer has any sense, he's going to dismiss this claim. I don't know whether he has any sense.
Busby, who has filed more than 20 lawsuits against Combs, told NBC News that he is continuing to vet the accuser's claims and that she has agreed to undergo a polygraph this week. A representative for Combs called the suit a shameless money grab.
Since your attorneys refiled the lawsuit against Combs naming Jay-Z, he has come out with a very long statement saying that this is completely not true and that this is all about trying to get money from him. What do you say about that?
Jay-Z didn't engage in petty insults or drama. Instead, he stayed focused on his business. He's been through too much in his career to let these distractions throw him off course. Jay-Z's response showed that he doesn't need to get involved in celebrity feuds.
This is pursuing this case. So what happens next?
Well, who knows what's going to happen with that? I mean, we don't know if the feds are going to be looking into this. They may well be at this point. I think that there are people further looking into Diddy. I think there might be a superseding indictment coming and probably looking into the people that he's associated with himself. But this also may well be beyond the statute of limitations. So it really just depends. I mean, as it stands right now, I can't imagine that there's enough evidence to necessarily bring something, because somebody's accuser saying something happened 24 years ago without more evidence is probably not going to be enough. But then again, we don't know what evidence she has. So it really remains to be seen if this is actually going to be passed on to the criminal authorities or if they're working on it at this point.
All right, so jury deliberations in the Daniel Penny case are set to resume today after the judge dismissed Penny's second-degree manslaughter charge, which carried a 15-year prison sentence. A jury is now being asked to consider a charge of criminally negligent homicide, which carries a 4-year prison sentence. Tell us what criminally negligent homicide is, and should Daniel Penny be worried about being found guilty of it?
Well, criminally negligent homicide is that he did not act as a reasonable person should have under the circumstances. And this is just very troubling, because I was looking at the verdict form, and the verdict form actually says for count 1, which is the manslaughter, if you find him not guilty, then you move on to count 2, which is the criminally negligent homicide. That didn't happen here. There was no finding of guilt of guilt or any acquittal. It was just they were deadlocked. They sent a note. They said, we can't come to a conclusion. The judge made them go back and keep deliberating. And then, treating it almost like an a la carte menu, the state decided to say, all right, well, we'll just dismiss that count. We'll proceed on the second count. Well, that's not what the jury verdict says. That's not how they were charged. It's very, very inappropriate what happened here. His attorneys were outraged. They have every right to be. This is unfortunate. Whether he should be worried or not, I'm a little bit concerned that there wasn't just an acquittal or not guilty. So there are obviously holdouts on the jury that believe that his conduct, at least for the manslaughter count, had risen to the level of recklessness, which would assume that it rises to the level of negligence. So I don't know. I mean, I think that there is a chance that he could be, but I also think it's equally, probably more so, that it's, again, a hung jury.
We will be watching it all. Lexi, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Carla.
Jay-Z is no stranger to controversy. From cheating rumors to shady business accusations, he's faced it all. But he's always managed to control his narrative. He knows how to rise above the noise and stay focused on his empire. So when 50 Cent made these serious claims, Jay-Z chose to ignore the drama and keep building his success.
About Jay-Z and Diddy and a teenager, 13-year-old teenager. And we were speaking about just the statement.
Right.
The statement, you were saying you felt like that was calculated.
That was, the statement is something you can tell it was written by a lawyer. Because there's a point where it kind of gets aggressive. He says, you're going to find out, like how I'll handle this. And that's an attorney want to be combative with another attorney. That's not like your publicist wouldn't say those things.
This is on your.
Who put that up?
Yeah, this is on. 50? Yeah, it says, I don't know what's going on, but are we still going to have the Super Bowl? I'm just asking for a friend.
Yeah, I'm asking for Kendrick. I'm just trying to figure out if we're still doing everything the way. Because look, they will fall back. The NFL they won't necessarily be associated to that.
Right. Why do you not insert yourself, but you're on top of every topic, right?
Yeah. I'm just watching. I'm participating. I'm being part of culture. I'm just telling my opinion.
Right.
Look,
because you're part of the
this,
culture.
Like I can't say anything now. I'm out of it. I'm like I'm going to Dre's studio and just sit with Dre a little
Right.
bit. And then, maybe I stay out of trouble.
Nah.
The truth is, Jay-Z knows the best way to handle this is by staying focused on what he does best, his empire. He's learned to ignore distractions, and that's exactly what he did in this situation.
Alongside rapper Sean Diddy Combs, that civil lawsuit filed against Combs in October was amended Sunday to include Jay-Z. The accuser, identified only as Jane Doe, says she was sexually assaulted by both men at a Video Music Awards after party in 2000. In a blistering statement, Jay-Z accuses Jane Doe's attorney of trying to blackmail him. He said further, quote, "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree?" He added, "My only heartbreak is for my family. My wife and I will have to sit our children down, one of whom is at the age where her friends will see the press and ask questions about the nature of these claims and explain the cruelty and greed of people." Joining us now, Joey Jackson, CNN legal analyst and criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor. There's a lot to unpack here. Joey, I want to start with just the statement from Jay-Z, which is so forceful in its denial. I just read a teeny part of it. It's long, where he says that they should file a criminal complaint. Is that even possible at this point?
So based on the allegations, Jessica, good morning. Good to see you. I think that it certainly could be. Why do I say that? Now, he, of course, is more than annoyed, would be an understatement. He has a family and he has a lot to protect, including his brand. But to the extent that he's saying, hey, come after me criminally, that could be likely. Why do I say that? Because rape in New York, and what's alleged in this complaint, is forcible compulsion. What that means in English is that it's saying that he held her down, raped her, and that, of course, the allegation is that Mr. Combs did the same thing. And so if those facts are actually accurate, it would require an investigation by prosecutors. And if true, right, you could pursue it criminally. Now, with respect to evidentiary value, yes, it happened 24 years ago, right, more than 24 years ago. But in the allegations, there's a few things. Number one, there's allegation that another celebrity was present at the time, right?
But this feud is more than just two celebrities going after each other. These accusations have the potential to shake up the entire hip-hop community and even the broader entertainment industry.
For a dime from him. It's not everything is motivated by money, and I'm sorry that he feels that it is.
This woman also told us on camera last week that this isn't about money.
Well, let's be serious. A lawyer like this is not sending out these letters not to make money. He wants money and fame. He doesn't care about truth and justice. And that's what's going on here.
Chloe Malas joins us in studio. So, Chloe, explain this to me. The attorney for the plaintiffs, Tony Busby, right? He is sticking by his client even though you've been able to report these inconsistencies and they are now out there in the public?
Yes, and because of our exclusive report here on Top Story, he's actually going to have Jane Doe do a polygraph test. He says he hasn't done it yet, but that they are going to be doing it this week. He also said in a statement to us moments ago that their conduct throughout all of this has been beyond reproach and will continue to be, even though that's not what you're hearing Alex Spiro, Jay-Z's attorney, what he's saying. Also, I just want to show you, Jay-Z's team created a timeline. Obviously, even though this took place allegedly 24 years ago, right? They are saying that there is just no way that he could have been at the VMAs. He's on camera there until the end of the VMAs, which ended right after 11, and that there are photographs of him at the Lotus Club in Manhattan, and they say he was there till 3 a.m., and then he went to the music studio. So, again, they are adamant that
that he was not at that party.
That he was not at any sort of after party.
I do want to ask you this. What is Jay-Z's sort of legal team strategy in describing the relationship between Diddy and Jay-Z? Because there are a ton of photos of them over the years, obviously before these allegations came out.
And this civil suit, Tom, originally just named Combs, and then it was amended last weekend to include Jay-Z. What Alex Spiro said to me today is that although publicly Jay-Z supported Diddy, they were not best friends. They were not as close as you thought that they were. So in terms of knowledge of what went on allegedly at these white parties and what took place allegedly in these civil suits and the criminal charge and the trial, he says Jay-Z has no knowledge of any of that. Again, he publicly supported him as a fellow musician and someone where they came up together in the industry, but that they weren't as close as you thought.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the...
When someone as influential as 50 Cent makes such serious claims, it sparks a bigger conversation. People start asking questions. Is there any truth to this? How deep does the corruption go? Is the world of hip-hop really as dirty as it's being portrayed?
2, there's the claim by the victim, right, that she left, that she went and she was seen by a gas attendant who saw her in distress. Number 3, that she phone called her dad who showed up, the 13-year-old, and now removed her. So civil complaint, simply allegations, needs to be proven in a court of law. But if true, it could rise to the level of criminality. And, we'll see what happens or if the DA looks and investigates.
So what happens now?
So what happens now is this is simply a civil complaint. And in a civil complaint, it goes through the technical legal process. Now, the distinction, Jessica, between civil and criminal, of course, is that civil is for monetary damages, right? The system can only reward you with money. There's allegations that this 13-year-old is suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, suffered depression, etc. So now you go to fact-finding, right? Before that, just briefly, there was a demand letter sent. And a demand letter is a letter being sent by a lawyer saying, hey, I don't have to sue you. We can sit, we can mediate it. If we reach an agreement, it never sees the light of day. Jay-Z saying, I don't care about your demand letter. I look at it as blackmail. You want to sue me, sue me. You want to look at it criminally, look at it criminally. But it'll go through the fact-finding process. If a trial is necessary to determine the facts, that's what will happen. But it'll be deemed civil. No indication at this point as to whether or not any criminal investigation will ensue as a result of this.
Yeah, and Jay-Z came back incredibly forcefully against these allegations and really singled out that attorney as well for being, I'm paraphrasing here, but greedy, saying he's out to get money and calling that letter essentially blackmail.
Yeah, and in addition to that, Jessica, also suing the attorney, saying he's intimidating him, harassing him, etc. Now, demand letters are not new. What lawyers do is they send them out as a matter of protocol and practice so that you can expedite the process. At the same time, there's certain ethical standards that you have to use, and you have to have a good faith factual belief that this is true. Now, you can argue this complaint was filed in October, right? Could have mentioned Jay-Z then. You didn't. Why? It was amended now to include him. Are the factual assertions true? Are they fact or fiction? Is it a money grab or not? All of that will be litigated in a court of law, but according to Jay-Z, this never happened, is pure fiction. It is a money grab, and he's fighting for his name, reputation, and certainly innocence and justice in his view, which is he didn't have anything to do with it.
Yeah, and you touch on a point, too, that I wanted to ask you about, which was that this was an amendment to this already existing lawsuit. What are people to take away from that, the fact that they're coming back and adding to this now with this specific name?
Yeah, Jessica, so it depends. That's also common. You could amend lawsuits, right, as a matter of course, and you do, to include certain factual allegations. The interesting thing to me, in terms of your question and the takeaway, if you had this information about Jay-Z, it happened allegedly in September of 2000, why not include it in the original complaint? What happened between October and now that necessitated you putting in, and it's a question of credibility. Was he celebrity A, right, as was noted in the October complaint? Is this pure fiction? And what's interesting in the complaint is he really, that is the lawyer, tries to tie Jay-Z to Mr. Combs in so many ways, right? Birds of a feather is the...
I've engaged and always involved myself in those situations, big, and I think it always made bigger excitement in our culture. Like that type of thing would make a person buy the record twice.
Right.
It would make like
so you know how to use it.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that. Even me and Kanye, like we'd have issues, but we were standing there like we was in a fight pose.
Yeah.
For the picture. You know what I mean? Like,
and that was the week, the first sales week.
Yeah.
And both of y'all sold.
Yes. And then you're gonna look, at the end of the day, Big, you're going, I could have went on tour with him if I wanted to combat that win.
Right.
Because I had so many records that were hit records at that point that I would have smacked. He only had that album.
Right. Mm-hmm. What do you think this is with Drake and Kendrick?
No, I think it's a point where you you win repeatedly to the audience, and even the artist community is going, if you win again, how am I have my chance to win? So they would rather see Kendrick in that slot.
Right.
And Drake, you get out of here.
Damn.
That's really the way it goes. But like, you look, think what he's saying, the system's done, they done it. They're guilty of what he said they did. Like where I'm at Interscope, there are G Unit and G Unit at the same time.
Right. Gotcha. Wow.
On the same system, big. The same person delivering the record, telling you to play 50 Cent is delivering the record, saying play game.
Wow.
And it's just business. They're looking at it like it's business. It's selling the record. But everything that they said that he did, that they did for Kendrick, is something they did for him.
What did you say to Drake, if you don't mind my asking? Because you guys were somewhere, and it looked like y'all were having a conversation.
I said, they said you lost to Pusha T. So what did you lose? And he said nothing. I said, so I don't understand.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like whenever you say you lost something, he said, what exactly did you lose? If you take a step back, there's nothing lost. There's nobody who's just a Drake fan that won't go out to see his show right now.
Man, we say that all the time. We say that all the time.
Yeah. So it's just to be active. You get out there, do your thing.
How do you feel about beef in general?
I like it.
Yeah, I know.
We can tell. I grew up under circumstances where it is not optional. It's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? And then you going, look, battling has always been a part of hip hop culture. If you're not competing, look, that is we hit a spot where business is so present that he looked at it and said, well, that's defamation of character because it's not true. It's a false statement. All right, and I'm like, you know how many false statements were in battle records?
Yeah. What did you feel about the lawsuit when you heard the lawsuit being announced?
I thought it was to combat the
Super Bowl.
Yeah, because that would reignite it, big, or make it. The song would make it exciting, make it go up again.
And months down the line too.
Yeah, but the suit itself, I don't think you think about it. But when the lawsuit comes out, it ignites the record. It goes up.
Right.
I didn't realize that his album was coming.
Right.
Kendrick's album was coming right when that lawsuit fell, and it was like,
yeah, there we go.
It spiked up anyway. So
is it different when we look at hip hop as?
The internet is buzzing after shocking reports surfaced about a leaked call between Jay-Z and Diddy. Fans and insiders are speculating on the nature of the conversation, which is said to have revealed sensitive details. As the news spreads like wildfire, questions arise about how this leak happened and its potential impact on the two hip-hop icons.
If there's a lawsuit there? From a beef though, you know what I'm saying?
No,
like,
I think it's
because you beef with Fat Joe, Ja Rule, Buster. Have you ever got a lawsuit?
No. Okay. Nah, you always get other stuff like behind the scenes stuff. You know what I mean? Like, but they're not public lawsuits or things like that. Like they've said for me, mine was so street orientated that you're a rat. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And weird. That's defamation right there. But then the judge that you would be in front of would look and say, so you're like those criminals that I put away. Because you feel offended by someone calling you a rat. The traditional person, they're not in that lifestyle. Rat means yes.
Right.
911, their defense to you hitting them over there, you hit them. Come get this nigga. Hello? Come get him. Yeah. Hit me, yeah. Don't act like you didn't do it.
Right.
Like that is no ratting for them. They're like, what? You better behave yourself.
Can you understand from a business part and the bigger scheme what this lawsuit is from Drake?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's because it does feel like when you're in negotiations, it'll feel like the value went down. Like not as hot as you was last week when everybody was excited and saying it feels different. Like, you know, like they saying you lost. Like you get a phone call, even you like, yo, you guys created the largest sales week in hip hop. And I'm like, yeah, but I lost.
Right.
Get off my phone.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I get this call from Steve Berman. They run Interscope now. But they like at that point.
And this is when you and Kanye were going?
Yeah.
You
gotta get the call. You go, wait, what did you man, get the fuck off my phone?
Because when you look at it with the sales with you and Kanye, like y'all went on this whole who's gonna sell and that first week, Kanye did sell more.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
looking at the numbers, y'all won.
Yeah, yeah. No,
but you were like,
look at
nah.
this big. Look, from a consistent sales history, I have the sales history. Interscope didn't do everything Def Jam done for Kanye's number to come back like that. They assumed because they didn't do everything to protect Drake. Because they assume Kendrick and this will be just like anything else that happened. Do you understand? Like they did everything he's saying they did in that lawsuit, they did it.
So you feel like it's valid on that point? Like, yeah, they did that.
I understand why you would do that if you was talking to a lawyer, but like in hip hop,
right?
Like there's nothing to sue for. There's nothing that I didn't sue for that.
Is anything off boundaries when it comes to beef?
No.
Nothing's out of bounds?
Nah.
What about going to their home city and putting on a full concert? Like Kendrick's going.
Sources claim the call between Jay-Z and Diddy took place while Diddy was reportedly dealing with legal issues. While the details of the call remain unclear, some suggest it touched on matters that both artists would prefer to keep private. The situation has left fans divided, with many wondering how such a personal moment became public knowledge.
Jay-Z's been dragged into one civil suit by one of the Diddy accusers. And this now 30-something-year-old woman, I think she's 37 now, who claims that she was 13 years old at the time this happened to her, has filed a lawsuit through this lawyer who's suing P. Diddy in many cases. Like, this guy's going to build a summer home based on what he hopes to recover in these lawsuits.
Or three
yeah,
summer homes.
3. So he says that he's got this woman who, when she was 13 years old, she went to the VMA Awards in New York City, like by herself, looking to get in and meet celebrities. Not surprisingly, she says she couldn't get in. She says she decided to chat up the limo drivers waiting for the celebs outside, and that one of them said to her something to the effect of, "You look like Diddy's type." And that then she was brought back to Diddy's house after the VMA Awards at Rock Center in Manhattan in the year 2000. And that there she was raped. She was given something that made her feel drugged, a drink. And she was raped not only by Diddy, but also by Jay-Z. And that when Diddy then tried to come for her again that evening, she grabbed her clothes and ran out. And that her father picked her up at a gas station nearby the home. The father, and I presume she, lived 5 hours away in Rochester, New York. Now, unfortunately for this woman and her lawyer, this guy Busby, some inconsistencies have surfaced in the account. Most notably, the father comes out and says, "That never happened. I never went and picked her up at any post-Diddy party. I think I'd remember that. I live 5 hours away." And that would seem to be a near insurmountable problem for Mr. Busby in this lawsuit, Mark, but you tell me.
Well, that's when you say inconsistencies, that's about as charitable as you can get. And by the way, I'm going to ask Alex Spiro next time he calls him a Busby, the 1-800 lawyer. I call him the 1-800 Diddy lawyer. I mean, he's out there with the billboards, he's filing things anonymously. And then it turns out when Alex was doing his press conference yesterday, that not only was the description of the house impossible, 20 minutes outside of Manhattan, but virtually everything else about this story was impossible, not to mention, as you said, the father. But this is not the first time that one of these things as to Diddy has fallen apart. I mean, Gloria Allred brought a case that ended up falling apart. The
leaked call has sparked concerns over privacy and security. With two of hip-hop's most influential figures involved, the situation has raised questions about how confidential conversations can be protected in today's digital age. Some fans are even speculating that the leak was intentional, though no evidence supports this theory so far.
I actually followed on one of the TV shows a lawyer who brought 3 cases against Diddy, and he said that 60 people had come to his office talking about Diddy, but the 57 of them were so ridiculous that he didn't take them. Well, that tells you 95% of the people making the claims don't even pass the smell test for a lawyer, yet he's going to take 3 or vice versa. I mean, this is really, at the end of the day, if you look at the Diddy case, and there's almost a service that has been done by them expanding it to Jay-Z. Everybody says there's all these celebrities involved. Well, so far, everybody says any minute the tape's going to drop, the tapes are being shopped, blah, blah, blah. The problem is that was in September. And now we're in December. Not one tape has been released that I have seen. No, not one other person who is an alleged victim has been identified. It's still a one accuser case that's being brought criminally. I think that a lot of this is totally overblown, and there isn't any indication. Everybody keeps talking about the Diddy parties. Where are the tapes of the Diddy parties where this is supposedly going on? Nobody's ever seen it. It's become like the Loch Ness Monster.
And also, but Meg, let's talk about something historical that took place this week. And it's a case that you and I don't know how many stories we did on the original Kendall's court / Kelly's court. The young woman who she was young then, accused the Duke lacrosse players of raping
Crystal
her,
Mangum,
has now come out and said, yeah, I made the whole thing up, which is horrible as what she did was horrible. She's actually just committed like a little bit of a public service to show like people do make these things up. Everyone's like, oh, make this up out of whole cloth. Oh, it just creates such a story. It never happens. Yeah, it actually does happen. Did happen. Those 4 kids' lives were ruined. Their families ruined, financially wiped out. A DA was brought to his knees out there. It was just, a despicable situation that happened. And now, I don't even know, almost 20 years later, she admits, yeah, I made the whole thing up. And this girl with the Jay-Z thing, I mean, her own father, he goes, yeah, I think I would remember if I drove 5 hours to pick up my daughter from a nightclub. But for Jay-Z, I agree with Mark that he did perform somewhat of a public service when his name came out, and he fought. He said, look, I feel bad for my kids. I feel bad they're going to have to hear about this, but I am not going to be extorted. I'm not giving a penny. I know I didn't do that. And I'll tell you, Mark and I have represented these kinds of people. It is often a lot easier for them to fill out a 3-page document, a non-disclosure agreement, write out a check for an amount of money that's not going to change their quality of life, just make it go away. He probably could have done that here, but he didn't, and good for him.
Yeah, no, Jay-Z is denying it in the strongest terms, and he's responding to this.
Insiders close to the situation suggest that Jay-Z was particularly alarmed by the leak, as it could expose details about private discussions or future plans. Known for being meticulous about his image and business dealings, Jay-Z has built his career on a foundation of discretion. This breach of privacy has left many wondering how he'll respond.
Well, I didn't reach out to him. My mother, she actually wrote the letter. She reached out to Jay-Z and his team. And my godmother helped. They sent him a letter basically saying we can talk privately and have a private conversation and, basically have a sit down.
And have they agreed to that then?
No.
Did you get any response?
Yeah, we got a response, but it wasn't about no sit down. It was just basically asking questions, stating like who your mom was in the car with and things of that sort. Do she remember what type of car it was and like stuff like that? Who was the person that was?
So when you got a response like that, did you feel disheartened, or did you think they're probably just doing the job? This kind of thing, probably they get a lot of weird people contacting them.
Yeah, I felt like, I don't know, honestly, I had mixed feelings, but, I felt like they were trying to block the truth. I wouldn't say block the truth, but they wasn't trying to never solve the problem. It was never trying to get, my whole thing was getting a problem solved. I didn't ever want to see nobody, throwing shots at another person for something that we could have got taken care of privately. I'm not that type of person, and people could think what they want, but I never wanted this to, harm anyone. We really could have got this done, and he knows this, the truth. The team knows this, that we sent letters. We've been fighting for years and years, and someone should know that we're not fighting no fraud. Like, they've been using things in these courtrooms to drag it out and creating narratives that don't exist. And this could have been over with. That's all I'm saying is that when you treat people like that and you expect someone to just sit there and take it, that's just, you get what you get.
Yeah, it's got to be really frustrating. All right, so let's just go slowly over the years what happened with the legal situation. So you're 16, you reach out, they send this, response asking all these questions, trying to basically shut you guys down. What happened next after that in terms of communication?
Well, it was very lack of communication. We was basically talking, I guess, to his team. It was never directly to him, so it was always someone from his team or representing him. And after that, it was really just all court action. Like, let's just go to court, go on different states to go to court. Things is just dragging it out. They trying to dismiss cases and we making us file again about the same thing. It was just all craziness that could have really been taken care of. Our legal system is, and I'm not talking about our whole legal system, don't get me wrong, it is some great people in our legal system, but the ones that's not doing their job, like, you guys really need to check and get these people out of there because...
Diddy, on the other hand, has yet to address the leak publicly. Fans are speculating about his reaction, given the sensitive nature of the situation. As someone who's no stranger to controversy, Diddy's silence has only fueled curiosity about the content of the call and what it might mean for both artists.
We're looking things, they're letting lawyers lie, then come and these lawyers are saying, oh, we did lie, we didn't know he had properties, but come on, man, it's too much going on. You guys are letting them get away with murder, basically, because if these guys don't got to come in here and abide by the law, why should we?
It's corrupt as hell, and if you've got money, you can certainly play the system. That's what I've seen. But all right, so going back over it more slowly, then, you reached out, and then it got shut down, and then it went into the court system. How did it enter the court system? Who initiated that, and how old were you at that point?
I think I was still 16, going on to 17. Who initiated that was my godmother and my mom. It was started in Philadelphia, but when my godmom got legal custody over me, I guess when my mom started getting sick, she opened the case back up in New Jersey.
Say it with Cadbury Mini Fingers.
Yeah, that was really heartbreaking when I was listening to your interview, about your mum passing, and our condolences there.
That's my love right there. I love my mom to death.
Yeah, you've been through a lot. So it enters the court system, and that first thing that was filed then, what happened after that?
Fighting in court. I'm not a lawyer. I wish I could really tell you guys all the details, but just being, someone who's just listening to the fight that's going on. It was a lot of BS, a lot of craziness, and them bringing up different
Sean Diddy Combs,
different scenarios and things like that to try to throw the judge off of what was really the paternity and all the fraud and all that came. This case should have been over with. They should have never let it get this far. All the fraud that's in this case, and I just want the world to know, it should have never been sealed. This should be open for the public. It's just a lot of things that's going on that we all know is wrong.
So through the court system, then, were you guys asking for like a paternity test?
Yes, we started off asking for a paternity test, and it just went left from there. It just went left from there.
And how many years were you fighting in court for?
10 plus now, as I would say, it's 13, 14 years now.
Story unfolds. Fans are revisiting past collaborations and interactions between Jay-Z and Diddy. Their decades-long relationship as friends and business partners has shaped the hip-hop industry in countless ways. The leaked call, however, introduces an unexpected twist in their storied history, leaving fans eager for more details.
Allegations that Jay-Z, Sean Carter sexually assaulted Jane Doe, who was 13 at the time,
At an after-party 2000 Video Music Awards, Doe alleges she felt woozy after consuming a drink, then wandered into a bedroom where Carter raped her first, followed by Combs. Carter called the allegations so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one, and said whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. The lawsuit claims Carter responded to mediation requests with a frivolous lawsuit and accusations of harassment against Doe's legal team. It states Jay-Z responded to said letter by orchestrating a conspiracy of harassment, bullying, and intimidation against plaintiffs' lawyers, their families, employees, and former associates in an attempt to silence plaintiff. In his statement to CNN, Carter labeled the mediation effort a blackmail effort and remarked that those lawyers seem to have a pattern of these types of theatrics. Is this their response, Rob?
Yes.
And is this from him? Because he actually responded.
I think because it says my lawyer received a blackmail attempt.
Yeah,
So
this is what it's saying. The internet is saying that this is Jay-Z's response.
Can you zoom in a little bit, Rob?
Sure.
My lawyer received a blackmail attempt called a demand letter from a lawyer named Tony Busby. What he had been calculated as the nature of these allegations and public scrutiny would make me want to settle. No, sir, it had the opposite effect and made me want to expose you for the fraud you are in very public fashion. So, no, I will not give you one red penny. These allegations are so heinous in nature that I've read that already. These alleged victims would deserve real justice if it were the case. This lawyer, who I have done a bit of research on, seems to have a pattern. I have no idea how you come to such a deplorable human, Mr. Busby. I promise you, I have seen your kind many times over. I'm more than prepared to deal with your type. You claim to be a Marine. Marines are known for their valor. You have neither honor nor dignity. My only heartbreak is for my family. My wife and I will sit our children down, one of whom is at the age where her friends will surely see the press and ask questions about the nature of these claims. By the way, very well written. You think he wrote this here?
Yeah.
And explain the cruelty and greed of people. I mourn yet another loss of innocence. Children should not have to endure such at their young age. It is unfair to have to try to understand inexplicable degrees of malice meant to destroy families and human spirit. My heart and support goes to true victims who have to watch how their life story is dressed in costume for profitability by this ambulance chaser in a cheap suit. You have made a terrible error in judgment, thinking that all celebrities are the same. I'm not from your world. I'm a young man who made it out of the projects of Brooklyn. We don't play these types of games. We have very strict codes. We protect children. You seem to exploit people for personal gain. Only your network of conspiracy theorists, physics, will believe this idiotic claim you have levied against me that, if not for the serious surrounding harm to kids, would be laughable. Tom.
So I break this down first. It's very subtle. It's very subtle, Vinny, but you can detect Jay-Z indicating.
Call has also drawn attention to the broader implications of privacy in the entertainment industry. With high-profile figures like Jay-Z and Diddy involved, the situation serves as a reminder of the vulnerabilities celebrities face in protecting their personal lives and business dealings from public scrutiny.
It's hard to see.
Yeah.
But it looks like he's not going to negotiate. But there's a line in here. I love to dissect these things. And first of all, I think this was written by a spokesperson, taking nothing against Jay-Z and his capabilities. But this really appears to be written by a legal publicist. This is the way they write. This is their style. So one of the things he says is, I implore you to file criminal, not civil. And when I saw that this morning, I didn't have time before the show, but I wanted to look up the statute of limitations, Pat, and to see whether this is chargeable. I don't know. I actually do not know at this hour. But when I see something like that, I go, oh, is this potentially outside the chargeable window? The statute of limitations applies. Because remember what happened two summers ago when they moved the date in New York State, New York City? All those women came out with those Me Too suits because they had a deadline date, remember? Otherwise, the statute of limitations was going to come. That's what I see this. So this is a standard response from a legal publicist, and that can be the words and tone and opinion of Jay-Z, but I think it was written by a legal publicist into the form that they use, ambulance chaser, cheap suit. All of those are kind of stock words they use. My question is, has the statute of limitations moved on this? Question one. And question two, with all due respect to Jay-Z, there's an awful lot of pictures of you running around in your undies at parties with Diddy. And so you were at some of these parties. It's not like there's no photographs that America's going in, hey, is that a young Jay-Z running around in his underwear with Diddy at a party? Huh. You know, when you see that, it's hard to walk away from that visual.
And so, by the way, I don't know if you guys know this or not. Tony Busby isn't an ambulance chasing. He is probably one of the most successful lawyers in the United States. So I don't believe none of that BS. So I did some digging. So apparently he got sued by an unnamed person. He won't name the person. And this person had hired private investigators to go through Busby's life, talk to ex-employees, ex-clients, because they wanted to get as much dirt on him as possible. And they basically approached him and said, hey, if you don't back down with suing this random person, I mean, I think we all know who it is, we're going to expose everything. So you know what he does? He comes out with the Jay-Z alleging raping a 13-year-old girl. And now, again, all allegations, but from what the questioning is with this girl, this 13-year-old girl knows everything about this house, from the driveway to the paint inside the building. She knows everything. And it's
she did?
She did. She's saying this in the lawsuit. That's what they're saying, allegedly. But at what point, guys, and I get it, all we always hear is rumors. We never have proof. Every time it comes to these children who are the most neglected people in this freaking country, we know it because of the border and the sex trafficking and all that. When are we going to start listening to some of these people that the media and the left consider crazy? Kanye West tried to warn us about Jay-Z. Cat Williams warned us about Jay-Z and Beyonce. MIA told us about satanic rituals. And I'm telling you from experience, and Adam knows this guy too, they do that type of stuff in Hollywood. I know people that have said...
Social media is ablaze with theories about the call's content. While some fans believe it involved business matters, others think it could have been a casual conversation between two friends. The lack of concrete information has only added to the intrigue, with everyone waiting to see if either Jay-Z or Diddy will break their silence.
Let's deal with the sandwich.
We asked you this last time, and Piers Morgan said it. They're not here to defend themselves. Do you think the Carters will speak about any of this at all? Do you just feel that they'll make any statement about what's going on?
Beyonce is losing hundreds of thousands, millions of followers every day. And she still hasn't said anything. Just pretending like life is great in Paris.
Is it her place to say so?
I mean, probably not, considering she's going to be indicted for anything she would say. These are criminals. Diddy is a drug dealer, and so is Jay-Z. The proof is there. How many up people does he have to be around before people see him for who he is?
It seems like these artists are trying to run away from their past. Diddy changed his name multiple times to say, that's not me. I'm trying to move beyond Diddy. I'm Love now. It seems like Jay-Z would try to run away from his past.
Calling that nigga Love and anything that he did love. Brother Love. What kind of love? Baby oil love? Baby love? Baby love? Explicit love? Hey! They never thought that hip hop would take it this far.
Oh man, it's different now.
These lyrics are all hitting different right now. All the people talking about fathers, all kinds of stuff.
So let's just start with Piers Morgan, because there's a headline that went out that was very powerful that people are running with, where it just says, Jay-Z is the real monster. Now, before you speak on it, to even get to Piers Morgan, can you explain how that took place and why even take that interview to go forward?
Well, excuse me.
Bless us.
I can't say that I sought it out because I didn't. Truth is we didn't see it coming. But I have to credit Odell.
Got Odeezy.
My love. I have to credit him because since we've combined and joined forces and become A hell of an investigative journalism team. See, I'm the content, I'm the passion, I'm the voice. I'm also the brain, but I do too much by myself. That's the brain. That's the administrator.
Legal experts have weighed in on the situation, emphasizing the potential consequences of such a leak. If the call contains sensitive or confidential information, there could be significant legal ramifications for those responsible for making it public. For now, the source of the leak remains unknown, adding another layer of mystery to the story.
Do you think it's true when people say,
you know, there were so many people that hacked into so many of my accounts. People didn't even know how to get in touch with me anymore. Odell created that lane. And they reached out to him. More producers called him directly.
Go move it.
And
Russell.
we talked about it briefly, and I said we have to do it.
Social media has erupted.
Because one thing I know about Piers Morgan is he is smart prey. Not only is he smart prey, he is conductor of information. That's vicious. I want to thank you for that. Because if my word is going to make it through Piers Morgan's a firewall of then I guess he just vetted me for every ounce of real life content on this blue couch. We thank you for that.
Do you feel that Piers Morgan allowed you to get, because you only have so many minutes, I know you don't know exactly how the show's going to be structured.
Yeah.
Did you get what you want to say out? Was there?
I'll never have enough to say.
Right.
There will never be enough screen time for me to say. But what I will say is, I'm grateful for the questions he asked. I'm grateful for the time he gave me to answer. And I pray that I was able to hit everything that needed to be hit for the public.
How did you feel about Vlad going after you?
The situation has also highlighted the importance of trust in the entertainment world. For artists like Jay-Z and Diddy, building a successful career often relies on forming strong, reliable connections. The leaked call, however, raises questions about who they can truly trust in their inner circles.
Whoa.
I mean, I'm just like, you could have said, I know you guys don't want to walk away from your home, but at least let me pay you full value because I got the money. And I want to see y'all be okay. She knew they were going to have to forfeit on that mortgage, and she squeezed. She was kinder to that damn dog.
Oh, man. Putter? What's his name?
Flutter, yeah.
Putter, God.
You gave the dog an idiot name and you wonder why he's shatting your shoe. The fuck is Flutter? What does that mean?
Yeah,
Oh, it's the sound his feet make. That's your fault, bitch. You named him nothing. How you gonna... Flutter, I used to hate that shit. And he hated kids. And he barked at people's feet. Like he was fucked up.
Oh, man.
I can see why Lizelle says she shouldn't make no babies.
Oh, man.
I mean, that was her husband.
So,
He should have known her best.
yeah, let me
She
say
wrote a whole
this.
song about it. It was a hit record. Want to hear it?
They did that for rich. Oh, shit.
Turn on a black radio station on Sunday where they sell bullshit all the time.
Jack, I want to ask.
Nothing progressive.
I have to say, most people that watch our interviews or your interviews as of late, the main question that comes up is, how does she know? Was she there? So
Yeah.
I want to do it like this. I'm gonna name some names.
Sure.
And I want to know, were you around them?
Sure.
I would like to start for what everybody knows is Jay-Z.
What about him?
Were you around him, and what capacity were you around him? Was it strictly? Was it only
NDAs
unplugged?
in my life.
Okay.
Both of them were with Mr. Carter. Ask me what you want to know and I'll answer what I can.
The leaked call also raises questions about Diddy's own strategy. Is he prepared to defend himself independently, or is he relying on Jay-Z to shoulder some of the burden? If the latter, he might be in for a rude awakening. The call suggests that Jay-Z has already made up his mind to prioritize his own interests, regardless of the consequences for Diddy.
Start with the base level. Business, personal.
Both.
Both.
And spiritual.
And spiritual. And spiritual. Okay.
We believe in the same power. We don't believe in appropriating it the same way.
Can I ask you this? For you, did you find joy in the business or pleasure? And when you answer that, I'm gonna flip it on him. Do you feel he found joy in the business or pleasure part of that?